T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Movies and Beyond. Once again, I am Michael, and today it's Sunday. It's 8 p.m. I am with Mad Matt again, as usual. Matt, how are you doing, sir?
Excuse me. I'm doing fantastic, Michael. I'm doing fantastic. I love Sunday. It's been a great weekend. And I top it off talking horror with good people. What's not to love? So we're digging into a franchise that, pretty much like all of them, there's some I love, there's some I can do without. So I like to get in the mix and see where they rank. And this is actually one that you and I haven't talked a whole lot about, so I'm not sure I really have a head up on where you're coming from as well. So it's all going to be new to me. I'm excited. Let's do it, buddy. I'm doing great.
Definitely wanted to get this in, considering what week it is. It is the week before Scream 6. And with this not being, my number one franchise, it's not your number one franchise. So we brought a little help today. We brought a little help of a person whose franchise that it is. And we have Bipolar with us today, and she is here to help us on our journey talking about Scream. Polar, how are you doing today?
Hey guys, thank you so much for having me. Scream is my franchise, so I gladly would love to discuss this with you.
We're happy to do so too. Definitely. And for me, it was a week in review for Scream. I've seen all the Scream movies, but they were besides the original, I've probably seen the original 50 times. I love the original Scream. But for some of these, it was a review for me. I just went back and I, throughout the week, as busy as I was, I found a way to get them all in. Being Scream 5 was actually this afternoon. So, a little later on in the afternoon, but I actually got that one in too. So let's go ahead and say hello to everyone that is in the chat today. We have Kelsey and Justin in the chat. I want to say hi to you guys.
Justin, good to see you guys.
And Russell Dorsey is back. What's up, everyone? I smashed that like button before I came in this awesome stream and chat. Happy Sunday, everyone. Happy Sunday.
Great to see you, Russell. Great to see you. Right
on. We have Dark Room Secrets.
All right.
Waiting. Teresa Stevens is in the chat, and she says, hello, everyone. Let's have some fun.
Fuller, that is my mother. She's awesome. Hello, yeah. Teresa.
Hi, Teresa.
Let's see. We've got Sean Hess is in the chat saying, hey, guys.
Welcome, Sean.
And James has entered the chat saying hello. Hello, James.
James, you're the man. You are the man.
Eric from the Bearded Entertainment is here, and he says, hey, party people. What's going on, Eric? Glenn Pyle is in saying, hey to everyone. Hey, Glenn, how you doing?
Hello.
Jeff D'Angelo pops in and says, hello, all. I am here.
Good to see you, Jeff. Good to see you, bud.
going on? James is saying, good to see you, Mike and Matt. Hi there, Polar. And I think that we have
Good guy
everyone.
there. I spent a lot of time with him at the shop. Great guy, James. Awesome.
Most definitely. So you all know that we are here to talk about Scream today, but before we talk about Scream, and I'm not talking about Scream 6 today. You know, I want to make that clear. I want zero information about Scream 6. I've stayed away from it. All my friends that are doing streams on Scream 6, I will pop in, I will hit that like button, I will say, hey, everyone, and I have been out. Like, I have not hung out with anyone talking Scream 6. The most I've done is jump in and say, hey, hit that like button, and I'm out. Like, I want zero information on this one. I want to go into this other than seeing the teaser trailer. I did see the teaser trailer for it when it first came out. How long ago did that teaser trailer come out for this?
It's been a while, I want to say.
Like a month and a half.
Yeah. It was the one where they were on the subway and everybody was in costume and there was a couple ghost faces in there. And I was just like, yeah.
Those costumes were awesome. I loved it.
Yeah. I think there was a Pinhead in there, if I remember correctly.
Yep. There's Freddy, there's Chucky, just everyone was in there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Loved it.
And, you know, that's a cool thing about Scream, too, is they incorporate the other movies so much. You know, it's like the first one had a big Halloween reference. You know what I mean? And it even had the janitor that looked like Freddy Krueger. And old Fonzie there was like, hey, what's up, Fred? You know what I mean? Like all those little references, you know, that I really liked with that. It's, you know, paying homage to the horror community and stuff like that.
Those are little bits I forgot about. But
Yeah, and there's Wes Craven under that wig too.
Oh, was it really? I didn't even peep that.
Oh, that was Wes Craven.
Yeah.
As the guy he said, "What's up, Fred?" to the janitor.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Okay.
He always had a little cameo in all the movies, except on 4. He was a part of a deleted scene. It didn't actually make it into the movie, but he loved to show up in his movie.
Okay.
I remember him being in 3. He was standing behind Jay and Silent Bob.
Yes. That was him.
Yes,
and then in
I
2,
did see
I think
that.
he was a doctor or something in the hospital.
All right. So one thing that I like to do is I usually throw up an article, a horror article. I've been doing that the last few times, and I've been having fun doing that. And I actually found one that pertains to what we're talking about here tonight, and I'm kind of excited to share it with you guys. For the people who haven't seen it already, I'm sure that some of you had. But I thought that it was really cool and I wanted to show it today. So it appears that Ghostface has been randomly appearing in streets across the country. So it looks like, if you could see the picture here, Ghostface is slowly making his way to New York City as he slashes his way across the country, at least according to various reports across the web. So it looks like there are a lot of people in, Ghostface cosplay that are just popping up everywhere. And we were talking a little bit about that backstage, to where you remember when the clowns were popping up everywhere. And then when it came out, you saw like the red balloons that were popping out everywhere. And I don't know, I want to hear what you guys think about, things like this. But to me, I absolutely love it. Like if I'm a huge It fan and I look out my window and see a red balloon, I'm probably going to be like a little kid at Christmas and just be like, oh, look, they did it over here too. You know what I mean?
Here's where I'm at. As long as you're not breaking the law or, acting a straight fool. I'm with you, Michael. I love it. Yeah. Give me a random clown standing in the freaking out in the field while I'm driving around. That's awesome. But just, use your head, keep it cool. And yeah, I'm all about it.
Yeah, and I had kind of a different insight on it because it makes me think of Scream 2 and how terrifying that was, that she was killed in a theater full of people dressed as Ghostface. So
yeah.
I love it at a distance, like seeing it in a news article. But if I saw that in actual person, I probably would get out of there and not fan geek out.
You're probably not alone on that.
So let me ask you this though. Okay. And not to jump off of Scream here. And, I was talking about the red balloons and stuff like this, but let's say that, you know, like I have to get up super early in the morning. Like I have to leave my house sometimes by 5 a.m., you know, so it's still dark, you know, there's nobody else awake. You know, my complex is, you know, other than the street lights, you know, it's dark. Now, if I saw somebody standing like behind my car, you know, in like a Michael outfit, you know what I mean? You know, I might actually think twice about going to my car. Like, hold on, man.
You
You
should.
know, like,
You should.
like you've watched horror movies long enough for me to not walk out there and be like, hey, what's
Mhm.
going on? What do you think about something like that, Matt?
Well, I was just thinking on that. Well, what's sad about that is, and you know, this is a topic, you know, for another time, but it's a shame that. But you got to be careful, man. The times it's a fact. The times we're living in are there's some pretty crazy times, man. They are, and you just cannot trust everyone. So I'm gonna second guess it too. You know,
Yeah.
back in the 70s, 60s, you might just be like, "Oh, is that you, Carl? Yeah,
Right.
get back in your house." You know, but today it's like, yeah, man, it's just that's the times we're in. You got to be careful.
Mhm.
So I hate to, you know, kind of shine that on it, but you know,
Right.
yeah, man, just being real. You know, I'm all about it, and yeah, and still though, 9 times out of 10, that stuff's gonna be, you know, it's gonna be nothing and fun and whatever, but you never know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Or you
just-
think about Halloween 4. Like,
Well, I was
there
just about to
people
say that.
running around with Michael mask on, and what happens? They got shot.
right.
Well, I was actually going
Right.
to go for a different approach from that, which
Okay.
it's funny you said Halloween 4 because I was like, I would be freaked out unless it was the Halloween 4 mask. Then I'd just be like, dude, get out of the way. You know what I mean?
The mask was bad. The mask
Yeah,
was
it's just
bad.
like, oh, look,
There
man,
is, there is,
wrong
there
one.
is, there
You're,
is
you're obviously
zero,
not scaring anyone. There's no lightning behind you. It's time for you to get out the way. I'm gonna be late for work.
zero intimidation in that mask.
There's no intimidation here.
Yeah,
But
it's just be stark white. It wouldn't even show in the snow.
yeah, probably you just see like the
The
hair and
balls.
the
The
coveralls.
hair.
See the sideburns
Yeah,
look like Elvis going across the street.
it's freaking crazy. But to continue the article, various news outlets have caught wind of the eerie Ghostface sightings, with the outlets including the San Francisco Chronicle and the New York Post reporting on the sightings. Apparently, some people have been so freaked out that they've placed 911 calls after spotting Ghostface in their town. Now,
Oh, they're calling 911.
yeah.
Okay, guys. I know I said I would walk the other way, but I would not call 911.
No,
Yeah.
has he busted out your windshield? Is his legs hanging out of your car? You know, then call
Yeah.
911. Don't see him and dial. Come on, take it easy,
Yeah,
guys.
finding one of those like clowns at the end of the dead road or dead ends. You know, I probably call on that one.
And I want to say the cops are, you know, busier with more serious crime than to go chase a guy for wearing a costume in public. Like, come on.
Yeah. I don't know.
We don't have time for that.
Uh,
Shit.
Dark Room is saying that's hilarious. James is saying Ghostface takes Manhattan. Better watch out for Jason. Well, I think Jason might have been in Vancouver, and he was just pretending to be in Manhattan.
They're in
Don't wait on
Canada
his
for this one
spray,
too.
Mike.
Oh, they're in Vancouver for this one as well.
They filmed in Canada. Yeah, it's cheaper.
James, I agree. He should absolutely watch out for Jason. Absolutely. He don't want none of that heat.
Jeff is saying I can make that random clown appearance happen.
No, no.
Very good.
Russell is saying if there was a person in Ghostface costume standing in my yard, that would be crazy. That would be crazy. That would be freaking crazy. Glenn Pyle, don't get any ideas. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but I agree with that statement. Glenn, don't get any ideas.
You know, another thing with what I was saying, how you can't, trust everyone. It goes both ways too. That guy in the costume's putting himself at risk too. Who's to say old, drunken farm hillbilly Wilbur's not just going to start busting caps because there's a ghost face in his yard? It's going to go both ways. You could get yourself hurt.
And that's a perfect segue to James's comments where he says Ghostface better not show up in my house or he'll be eating bullets.
Oh yeah, he
So,
would. I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it.
So that goes right in with what you were saying there. Definitely. But this Ghostface replies on Twitter saying, "I was just minding my business," to an article of a picture of Ghostface standing in the town here. And it says, "The people of Sonoma got a bit of a scary surprise on Monday when a person wearing a Scream costume stood motionless at the Sonoma Plaza." The first film in the franchise was shot at the Sonoma Community Center just a block away.
That's awesome.
That is super cool. But yeah, so that's the article that I wanted to share with you guys today. Yeah, I think it was pretty cool too. That's why I definitely wanted to bring that one up for us today. And then I had one more thing that I wanted to go over with you guys before we roll this intro and get talking about Scream. I put up a poll last week, and I was curious to get everyone's feedback on this one. Because it's a little different than what I normally do with these. And I started picking years, right? So I started with the year 2013. And I put up a poll, and I will show it to you guys here. Let's go ahead and that's it. Yeah, there it is. Here to where I said, which horror movie from 2013 did you like best? Explain why in the comment section. And the three choices were The Conjuring, The Evil Dead remake, or Insidious 2. All of them came out in 2013. And I would like to get your guys' opinion on which you guys think about this one. Matt, which one did you like the best out of the three?
Okay. I like all three of those films. Let's make no mistake about it.
Yeah, they're three good ones.
I'm also surprised, very surprised at how far back Insidious 2 is. I'm going to go with The Conjuring. Okay.
Mhm.
I'm going to go with The Conjuring. I think Conjuring was a breath of fresh air because really before that, you know, what did we really have that kind of had that old school horror vibe to it? You know, there just wasn't much. Everybody was trying something new, different, and you know, sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. But I was ready for exactly what The Conjuring brought. I was ready for something like that, and you know, I won't go too far into the. You know, everybody's seen The Conjuring, but it was executed beautifully. So I'm gonna definitely give The Conjuring the nod, and gosh, and then I might have to think a little minute on Evil Dead and Insidious 2. Those are both great. I might put them right now to tie.
Mhm.
How about you, Polar?
Yeah, so I voted for this one, and I went with The Conjuring.
Okay.
And I commented on your one short clip, and I said The Conjuring had the most terrifying trailer I have ever seen.
Yeah.
Just watching that trailer scared the out of me. The other movies are good. I actually thought Insidious 2 was better than the original, the first Insidious. So I thought they actually did really well with that one. And Evil Dead originated in my state, so I salute it. It's a great freaking franchise, but I just think The Conjuring was better than a remake.
Yeah, I agree. And I kind of stand along with you guys on this one. I remember going to see The Conjuring in theaters, and I was amazed at the pacing of The Conjuring. So, like, to the point of, you know, with The Conjuring, you had, you know, other movies before that. You would have it would almost look like if you were to look at that movie on a chart where you would have like crazy intense moments, and then it would let you chill out for a minute. Some stuff would happen, then you'd get an intense moment, and then you know, chill out. It seemed like The Conjuring went on a different scale. Like it started here, and then it went here, and then it went here. It was like steps. Like there was less and less little chill moments where it's like, okay, I can take a breather now. They're just talking about cake. You know, like they never talked about cake. It was just one event after another event, and it never got repetitive or annoying. You know what I mean? It was just like, holy shit, man, this is freaking crazy. And I remember walking out of there like, that's the best horror movie I've probably seen in 10 years. Yeah. Maybe even longer than that.
Yeah.
You know, James Wan did a fantastic job. Vera Farmiga, Patrick Wilson. Oh, come on, guys. Like that was just freaking amazing.
Down to
And
the child actors. How good?
Yeah, I was
I mean-
gonna say the child actors blew
Yeah.
my mind. I could not believe the
Same.
scene where they were grabbing her foot and pulling her.
Yeah.
What I can't think of her name right now, but that girl nailed that entire scene where she's like, "It told me to kill you," and she's crying. I
Yes.
bought it. I was like,
Yes.
"Holy cow, this girl is going for it."
Yeah.
So,
You know,
It
I
was
didn't even think
special
about
to
that
see. It
before you guys
was.
brought that up. Go ahead, Matt.
No, just and not even just the original Conjuring. You know, the child actors they've gotten throughout the franchise,
mhm.
yeah, are just very impressive. Very impressive.
It was
and they
very
did a lot of
believable.
films. Yeah, very believable. Yeah,
Like
And you're right,
sometimes when you get like the child actor, the actor or actress, you know, you can say, yeah, I get it, but like this kid looked legitimately like someone scared the shit out of her before they
Yeah.
said action.
yeah,
You know, and those were like real tears coming from some, you know, like she was in it. Like I agree with you guys completely and totally missed the mark on that one. Like,
And I
wow.
thought the exact same thing, Michael. When the credits were going, I thought the same thing. This is the best I've seen in a decade at least. Like,
Yeah.
it was awesome. I think I went back the next day. Yeah.
Let's read some of the comments. Darkroom Secret says, my neighbor put a red balloon on my porch, so I took pictures in his house in a Pennywise costume while he was on vacation.
Oh, I know exactly who that is. I saw these pictures, Michael.
Oh, I
They
saw him
are-
too Saturday.
Yes, they are
Yep.
awesome. And
Yeah.
you guys are awesome. And yeah, I believe she was Pennywise from like 1990 and just all through the house. These pictures were fantastic. It was awesome. Yeah, you saw them, Michael.
I did. Jeff Delangelo said, I used to play an evil clown in a haunted house. That would be right up my alley. That's so cool.
Oh,
You might be a little too terrifying there, Jeff. You seem like you got this clown thing down.
yeah. Working in a haunted house would be awesome.
It
Yeah.
would. It
It'd
would.
be a lot of fun.
James is going with the Evil Dead from the poll.
Wow. Okay.
You know, Evil Dead was good, James. I have to agree with you on that. It was
Yeah.
good.
But it's up there with The Conjuring, James. I'm not sure you saw
Yeah.
that in there.
We're not talking about the original Evil Dead. We're talking about the remake Evil
Right.
Dead. So it's
Well,
that
hell,
was a great
I don't
remake.
even know. Even if we're talking about the original, The Conjuring holds some weight on my list, you guys. Like,
I'm gonna have a biased opinion though. Like I have to represent the Michigan-made film because Evil Dead came from here.
But I thought you would go with The Conjuring.
I am going with The Conjuring
Okay.
for the remake, but if we were comparing the original Evil Dead to The Conjuring, I would have to go with the original Evil Dead.
Okay.
Yeah.
ooh.
Okay. Okay.
Russell is saying The Conjuring as well.
Hmm.
Jeff is saying I would agree The Conjuring.
I'm so ready for Conjuring 4.
Yeah. Teresa is agreeing with
Okay.
James on Evil Dead.
Okay.
And let's see. Yes, Glenn was there when we saw them yesterday. Yes.
Love it. Love it.
All right, guys, let me go ahead and get out of here. I like how I always explain to you guys what I'm doing when I'm clicking on things here. Kind of my thing. That's how I get through it. All right, so everyone in the chat, I'm going to go ahead and drop us all out of here. We're gonna roll the intro, and then we're gonna come back and talk about Scream. So
Let's
we
do
will
it,
see you
guys.
guys in a minute.
All right.
Here we go.
I prayed that he would burn in hell, but in my heart, hell has him.
You are all my children now.
Then I will avenge his death.
Hello, Sydney. Are you a god?
Force will be with you. Always.
I wish I had you all alone, just the two of us.
All right, and we are back.
Still loving the intro.
I love it
Still
too.
enjoy it, man.
You guys have no idea how much work that was for
I
me to do that
bet.
too.
I
And
bet.
that was my first big
Well,
project.
That's another reason why I like to tell you how much I do enjoy it, Michael, because
Mhm.
you did work hard on it, man, and it's beautiful. It's awesome.
And
I appreciate that, you guys.
I missed before though that you had Game of Thrones in your intro. If you ever want
Oh,
to
yeah.
talk Game of Thrones, dude, I'm
Yep.
like a fan.
I am all
Okay.
about that. Like I was saying last week, this is 90% horror channel, but there are those things. There's Game of Thrones, there's
Star
Star
Wars.
Wars. There's some things in there
Yeah.
that
I'm a late bloomer for Star Wars, so I'm still learning it.
oh, trust me, you've got. I'm jealous of the ride that you have ahead of you.
Yeah.
Because it's all past stuff for me, and
I'm jealous
I
of
love
both.
every minute of it. I'll tell you what, man, and I don't want to go on a Star Wars rant on a Scream, show, but man, there's some bad stuff in there, but there's definitely a lot of good stuff too, and yeah. So let me catch up on the chat so we can go into talking about Scream fresh, because I get behind a lot. I'm really bad at multitasking the chat. I want to make sure that I'm paying attention to these awesome people that are hanging out with us tonight. Darkroom Secrets is saying definitely The Conjuring, but love the scene of her coming out of the basement door scene on Evil Dead. Yeah, that was definitely yeah. I mean that
Very, very
the
memorable.
Evil Dead remake for me was so well done. Like I was not expecting what I saw. You know what I mean? Like I was going into it like, yeah, it's gonna be okay. When I came out, I was like, wow, that was really good. I really like the Evil Dead 2013.
I did too. It was a hell of a remake.
Russell's giving props to the intro. I appreciate it, Russell. Definitely. Makes me laugh every time I see Art messing with the customer with the horn. Yeah, I had to get that in there. I had to chop that up a little bit for it to look like, what it did, because in that scene, it was so back and forth with the cashier. That I actually, if you pay very close attention, I will actually show you a part of my intro that is not a perfect edit. You can see just a little like clip in that, and that's where I had to clip two scenes and put them together for us to get that whole scene in there. Glenn is also saying, love the intro. I appreciate it. Thank you, Glenn. And so is Jeff. Wow. Thanks, guys.
Right on, right on.
And Allison is in the chat as well, saying you did a great job. Thank you, Allison. I appreciate that.
Good to see you, Allison.
Jeff is saying that Friday the 13th kill with the sleeping bag is Kane Hodder's favorite kill. It's probably my favorite kill too from the Friday franchise. I mean, it's definitely up there, top 2 or 3 for sure for me. If it's
in
not
my
number
top
1,
3. Yeah.
Yeah, it's.
I always go with the machete. I go with the machete and the guy just going down the steps. I just love it. Something about that.
Yeah. Part 2, iconic as well. So my top 3 are the sleeping bag, the one you spoke of, and then the Jason X nitrogen head freeze
Yes.
slam. Like that is, yeah. Those are my 3 for Friday the 13th, and hell, ranking them all-time kills, and probably all three of them are in the top 10.
You know what I think I'm going to say is right. I'm going to say is in top 5 is just the act 7. The girl, the bitchy girl that is cussing them all out, and she opens the door and he just axe to the head and just tosses her,
throws her over the end table there.
You remember that one, Polar?
From which one?
From 7, where she's she's like, you guys could just go F yourself, and then over the and Jason's right there, and he puts the axe in her head and just tosses her through that over that set. You remember that?
No. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I don't watch the later Jasons as much as the earlier Jasons.
Okay.
Yep. So
it's a great kill.
Okay.
It's a great kill.
James comes through with love your intro, great work. Also like the Mad Matt intro too. Thanks, James. And James also likes the wheelchair. I can't say wheelchair. Wheelchair kill. Truly gruesome. It is. And Jeff is making a comment to you, Matt, about, hey, I see my Frankie bust behind Matt.
Wait, what? This one here? I don't know what he's talking about, guys.
No?
That I just picked that up. I can't remember where I got it, but okay, Jeff. Keep hitting the sauce. Yeah. This guy's great.
Anywho?
Yeah.
So are we ready to dive into Scream, you guys? Are we ready to
we are.
We ready to get into Scream?
I'm
okay.
so ready.
All right. So
I'm taking good care of your Frankie, buddy. Don't you worry, man. But doesn't he look good, guys?
It looks really good.
That's awesome.
I like that. So let's start with Scream 1. All right. Let's start with the original 1996 Wes Craven Scream. And I want to give you guys a little bit of background prior to talking about this movie. And I want to talk a little bit about the state of slasher movies at the time that this came out.
Okay.
The last Friday the 13th movie we had, in 1996, had come out in 1993, and it was Jason Goes to Hell. Okay. The last Halloween movie we had was 1995, and it was The Curse of Michael Myers.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
The last Nightmare movie we had was in 1994, and it was Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
Okay.
Box office for these movies. Jason Goes to Hell. It did 15.9 million worldwide. The Curse of Michael Myers did $15.1 million worldwide. Wes Craven's New Nightmare did 19.8 million worldwide.
Oh.
Does anybody know what Scream dropped in 1996 worldwide?
I do not.
$173 million.
Yeah, I knew it was
worldwide.
That's insane.
So
that is insane. Wow.
The state of slashers was in shambles. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So for someone to say that Scream resurrected the slashers, they're not far off. Can't argue that point. Whether you like the Scream franchise or not, Wes Craven came through with another of the big slashers. Now, how many people can say they were responsible for 2? He was A Nightmare on Elm Street, and he was Scream. Now, you talk about the big 3 being Michael, Jason, and Freddy. Well,
Ghostface
on the outside looking in is freaking Ghostface right there.
Yeah.
And the only reason I believe that Ghostface is not included in that is because Ghostface is not a person. Ghostface is an idea.
Yes.
There's never the same Ghostface. It's always somebody new.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that's the only reason that Ghostface isn't put into that. But 173 million. You can put all 3 of those movies together, right? And they almost tripled that. They almost tripled all 3 of those movies combined. So just a little bit of background. it was a financial success, right? Earning 173 million at the time, becoming the highest grossing slasher film ever when it came out.
And it
At
was well
170.
deserved.
Yeah. And I
Well
mean,
deserved.
it held that
Well, at
record
time, was it
until,
surpassing The Exorcist. Am I correct?
yeah, dude, like, yeah, like I have no idea, you know, talking about slashers, you know, but here's the thing. It held that until 2018. It held that title for 24 years
Damn.
Wow.
of the highest grossing slasher of all time. You know, and those are, you know, some big names. Now, granted, I'm not gonna go on that Halloween 2018 came dropped in 255.6, but you know, that movie alone was something that people had already had a fan base for. You know, Scream was brand new and it came out. And just to give a little bit of background for the Scream franchise, Scream 1, 173 million. Scream 2, 172.4 million. Scream 3, 161.8 million. Scream 4, 97.2 million. Scream 5 or Scream 22, 140 million worldwide. You find a slasher genre that's averaging roughly $140 million, you know, a movie. There isn't one.
And I
You
bet
know,
Scream 6 is going to go real high. Jenna Ortega is going to bring in a ton of money with her doing
Yeah.
Wednesday now. They're going to
I
hit
mean, 200
easily.
You've got Wednesday in it now. You've got a
Yep.
following from Jenna
And Axe.
Ortega.
Yep, she's
Yeah.
going to bring in a lot of money.
I don't think you're wrong at all, and I hope you're right, because I love for horror to thrive, whether it's my franchise or not. I just love horror to thrive, and I do like the Scream. But I think you're right on the mark there. Yeah, Jenna's big. She's been great for the Scream franchise, to say the least. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what kind of numbers they pull.
And I mean, that's crazy. Those numbers are crazy.
Yes, they are.
You know,
Yeah.
I
it's
had
like,
no idea, Michael, that they were that high. Wow.
yeah. You know, I decided I wanted to do a little bit of background, you know, work yesterday because I happened to wake up at 4:00 in the morning on a Saturday, and I said, let me look at, you know, I have heard that, you know, people have said that Scream saved the slasher franchise. Let me look back on this and see what I can find, and that's what I found. You know,
Yeah.
And how do you come back with an argument with that for that person? Like,
oh yeah,
Yeah.
no, numbers don't lie.
And it's just funny that it's a satire on horror, and it's actually what revitalized it.
yeah, it is. I mean, so let's dive into Scream 1.
Let's do
Let's
it.
talk about that. I'll start. Well, let's start here. Who was your favorite character and why? And I will start with you, Polar, being the Scream
Oh,
guru,
geez.
the number one Scream fan. Even if you can't name, like, this is my one, you know what I mean? Let's talk about one of your favorite characters if you can't name, you know, your favorite.
Mhm. Well, this is the thing about Scream, why I love Scream more than I like any of the other slashers, is they have the best character development. So I actually care when people are getting killed, as opposed to all the other slashers where they just dump a bunch of people into these movies, don't develop them, they die, and we're just there for their death.
Right.
So that's why I lean more towards Scream than other franchises. I'm a sucker for Billy Loomis.
Okay.
Just because I think Skeet is incredible to look. Best answer. I would say actually Tatum Riley is my favorite.
Okay. All right. Did you know, which I'm sure that you probably did know, that they use the name Loomis, you know, as a tribute to Halloween when
Yeah.
they named the character. So that I can tell you about that I did know.
not know that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did I freeze out for a second there?
You did. I was going to get
I'm
to it. Like,
sorry.
that's okay. Your camera's frozen, but we can hear you just fine.
Loud and clear. You're good.
Grr, that country internet that I've been dealing with. Yeah, so I'm gonna say Billy Loomis or Tatum Riley. I'm sorry, Scream 1. I have so many favorite characters in that specific movie. It would be
Yeah.
easier for the other movies to make up my mind, but it's either going to be Billy or Tatum.
And just one more thing to talk about, with Scream is it's kind of like the opposite of the other slasher movies. The one constant in a slasher movie is Freddy, it's Jason, it's Michael. Well, Scream is the exact opposite. The one constant in that movie is the cast. It's not the killer. The killer is someone different every time.
Now, guys, I know right off the bat I'm going to be the oddball here. Who's Tatum?
Tatum is Sydney's best friend. She's the one that dies in the garage.
Got it.
That's Dewey's sister as well.
Yes.
Got it. Did not know her name. Tatum. Okay.
Yeah, that's Rose McGowan. But yeah, so Matt, as far as you with the first Scream, did you have a character that stood out for you?
I did. I did. And we talked a little bit about this the other day, Michael, and I'm going with Stu.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Stu. I thought I love Matthew Lillard all around, and this was before I met the man. And after that, he just went up for me. He is probably and I've met a lot of really cool, celebrities in the horror genre, and he stuck out amongst them just like he does in his films. He is an awesome guy. But I think he was funny. He was interesting. He had some great one-liners and things. I thought he brought a lot to the film. So I'm gonna go with Stu, man. Matthew Lillard for sure. But there is a lot of good ones in there. I'm also a big Skeet fan, and so is Teresa. I know Teresa's a big fan. I think they needed security at his booth when she was in line there.
That would be me.
Yeah,
they would have to hold me back.
He'd have been right there with you. And he's very cool as well. I got the chance to meet him. They were all great, and he was also, I thought he was a very cool villain towards the end too. I like his Psycho reference, and he's wiping or he licks does he lick the blade off his knife when he's doing that, or does he wipe? I can't remember, but I thought he did it very well. Both of them two stuck out for me, not just because they are the killers, but and they had completely, they were polar opposites,
They were.
I feel like as far as Stu and Skeet there, but I would favor Stu. How about you?
So my pick, I'm going with Randy.
Great character.
Great for me, Randy was very relatable. I spent a lot of my youth in a video store. And I've told the story before. My mother worked at a video store when I was a little kid. So, I was constantly running around a video store. Who would have thought that I would have had a YouTube channel talking about movies in my 40s, right?
I think it's great.
That was my origin story. And I just really related with the character. And I have a little clip that I'd like to throw up that is one of my favorite parts, showing why I like Randy so much.
Let's do it.
You know what I think it is? I think it's her father. Why can't they find her pops, man? Because he's probably dead. His body will come popping up in the last reel somewhere. Eyes gouged out, fingers cut off, teeth knocked out. See, the police are always off track with this shit. If they'd watch Prom Night, they'd save time. There's a formula to it. A very simple formula. Everybody's a suspect.
I love Randy so much. Like, that character for me.
And Stu ends it great. God, with his little.
Yeah, I know. But Randy's so intense. You know what I mean? Like, everything's a movie reference. It's kind of like my life. You know what I mean? I'm like that person at work that will make a movie reference out of, something that comes up where people are just looking around like,
He's very relatable.
yeah. It's
Yeah.
like for me, that's just, yeah, I love Randy. Let me catch up on the chat a little bit. We've got a lot of people talking about a lot of cool stuff. Talking about the money that it makes. Yes, James, that was a lot of money that they made. Teresa's saying I would have never guessed that, but yeah, I mean the money that the first Scream made, it just justified. It did. It saved the slasher genre. Glenn is saying it had big names, and it did have big names.
Yeah.
I believe Nev Campbell at the time was what? She was Party of Five.
Yeah, she's in Party 5.
She was
And
a
then you had
lot.
Courtney Cox from Friends.
Mhm.
She was at Friends at the time. Matthew Lillard had been in a few things at that point. It's just Drew Barrymore was in it. We didn't even name drop her.
Drew Barrymore was the reason people came to see it. Like, they were in shock when they found out she was opening Kill.
Yeah.
And how cool is that? Because it was shocking. You're watching that thinking like, okay, I'm in for a Drew Barrymore film, and then she's just I thought that was very cool.
It was.
How they did that.
Mhm.
I mean, even Rose McGowan, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't she in like Charmed or something like that?
She
was
wasn't in Charm yet.
Okay, so
She
Charmed
came
hadn't
into Charm
come
a little
around
bit
yet.
later.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure she was added on later. The girl from 90210, of course, couldn't get along again with the rest of her team, so they replaced her with Rose McGowan down.
Oh,
the road.
okay. And then David Arquette too. I mean, so yeah, Glenn, right on with that. There were definitely some big names in that. Jeff is saying I think a lot of that had to do with A, it was something new and never done before, and B, it was Wes Craven. Yeah, it was. But at the same time, The Last Nightmare came out, was actually called Wes Craven's New Nightmare. And it still, fell a little short. So
I think that he was like with New Nightmare though. He was kind of testing to see if Scream would work because
Think so?
meta. Yeah. Because in New Nightmare, it was self-referential, and then he launched Scream following that. So I think he was testing it.
Yeah.
I can see that.
James is saying that's an unbelievable. Who would have thought that someone wearing a black robe and a plastic mask would get such big ticket franchise? Wow, and
I gotta
that's
piggyback
right.
off of that real quick because I'm not gonna lie. When I first saw the Scream mask killer, I thought it was a joke.
Mhm.
I was not hooked from the get-go. I thought the mask was silly. Just the whole look, I didn't find it intimidating. I thought it was a joke. I'm being honest. I didn't really believe that was going to be the killer for this film. Now it's grown on me over the years. It has, but yeah, I was not on board with that from the start. I thought it was a goofy look.
The look of it, the costume,
Everything, the mask, the costume, all of it.
I think like
Kids' costume you would pick up at the dollar.
that's the point, is that they
That's
are
what
kids.
people tell
They're
me.
teenagers. Yeah, they're teenagers. So what do teenagers do? They go to a party store and they just buy a costume.
I got you.
You just have to realize that. Yeah, they're teenagers. I'm surprised they even can get away with murder, but they're somehow doing it.
Right.
Matt, one of your earlier comments is coming to fruition. Teresa Stevens says, I love Skeet Ulrich. He's really something to look at.
See, Paul, I told you,
Yes.
she's right there with you. She's right there with you. That whole convention, if I couldn't find her, I'd just go to Skeet Flying first, and she was somewhere nearby. And she just pop up. Hey.
Oh, that is so funny.
Like, wait, have you been here since Saturday, Mom? Like, come on.
That's hilarious.
That's awesome.
Russell is saying Stu is the best on Scream 1996. He said, but my favorite is Gail Weathers.
You know what?
Gail's
Gail's a pretty
awesome.
cool character, and I like her more and more as the franchise progresses. Actually, there's depth to her character. There is. There's
Yeah.
layers to Gail. I feel like
Russell is saying Jamie Kennedy.
Jamie, that's Randy.
That
That's
is
Randy.
Randy. Yeah. Darkroom Secrets saying scary movie.
Scary
You
movie
know-
is pretty funny.
That is. Now you do know that was the original title of Scream before they changed it to Scream.
Mhm.
It was going to be called Scary Movie. I saw that earlier today on your channel and just laughed and laughed.
Which one's she talking about there?
I'm not sure exactly which one. Darkroom Secrets, definitely Matthew Lillard. He did great in 13 Ghosts. He did do good in 13 Ghosts. I actually really like 13 Ghosts.
And do you guys know who does not like 13 Ghost?
Matthew Lillard?
Matthew Lillard.
Really?
Yes, he actually does not even like to talk about it. I mean, he said that, so I, left it alone, but I don't know what it is. I didn't dive into it with him. Like, let's talk about why you don't want to talk about this. I'm not that douchebag, but
Maybe he had
yeah, he does not. I don't know if he thought his performance wasn't great. I don't know. It could be a number of things. He had issues on the set. Who knows? But yeah, it's a fact. He does not care for 13 Ghosts. So yeah.
well, we appreciate 13 Ghosts. So I love it.
I like it too.
He might be one of like his own biggest critics because he criticizes how he is in Scream. He says whenever he rewatches Scream, all he sees is his big gums and it's a quirky character. I'm like, but that's due to us. So you did a great job.
So if you ever get a chance to meet him, Polar, bring anything but a 13 Ghost VHS. Okay.
Just have him sign. Oh,
yeah.
I mean,
he doesn't care for it.
I loved him in SL Punk. He's been in so many amazing movies, and sad to see that his acting career's kind of dropped off a little bit because he's good.
Yeah.
He has been in a lot of good stuff. He was even Shaggy in Scooby Doo.
Of course.
Let's not forget that. So moving on, we went through our characters with the original Scream. Let's talk a little bit about the movie. So this was a movie, definitely that, like any other we had seen from the genre before, right? It was definitely something different. It was the introduction to one of the most, whether she's your favorite or not, one of the best final girls to do it, in Sidney Prescott.
Mm-hmm.
It was great. I think the group had a fantastic dynamic to go along with the story. It had, its serious parts and it had its comedic parts. And I felt like this had a little bit of something for everyone, the original Scream to me. What are your thoughts, Matt, on the original itself?
I can see everything you just said there. It did have a little bit of something for everyone. Now, I said and you guys know I'm a big visual guy. I've said on the channel before that you got to get your guy looking right. It's all just my opinion. For me, you got to get your guy looking right, menacing, terrifying, and then kind of build your story around that. So with me seeing, what I looked at as a really goofy mask and stuff, I was interested, but I wasn't counting down the days before it came out. So I went and checked it out with not that high of expectations. And I'm going to say it surpassed my expectations for sure. It was very different. It draws you in. You do, like Polar, you said before, you care about the characters. They have great character development. You feel like you're part of their group. You care what's going to happen, what's going on. So the movie really surprised me. It really did. And just how different it was with the teenage killers, with the, being two killers. It was, to me, it was a whodunit with a twist and done like we had never seen it done before. So I think it was pretty groundbreaking. I really do. And after you showed me those numbers and everything, but it had its funny moments. It had a few creepy, scary moments. Just like what you said. I won't keep repeating what you said, but it had a little something for everyone. Great characters. It's never going to be my favorite look, or like I'm a horror collector. You don't see much Scream down here in my basement. I've got Freddy everywhere, Michael. Don't have a whole lot of Scream, but by no means. Do I not love that first Scream film? Because I do.
Yeah.
I think it's a phenomenal horror movie. That's well rounded.
Yeah.
I do.
What
Executed beautifully.
with that being a who done it, I remember seeing that when it first came out, and originally I thought, okay, Billy's the killer, and then they do the whole thing, because when I went into seeing the movie, I was thinking there was one killer, just like every other
Same.
slasher movie, and when she got the call, I was like, holy shit, it's not her, or it's not him, he's not the killer. So I was lost,
And that's why I say a whodunit that was different, and because for me, let's face it, the whodunits have been around for a long time, and they can get pretty old and repetitive, and
Mhm.
but this was nothing like any of those you had seen before.
Right.
It really wasn't. Wes Craven, I believe, created something very special with the first Scream. And yeah, after seeing those stats, I will not argue with anybody that says that it's horror genre. I just, wow, it's impressive. So, now can I speak this highly of the rest of the franchise? We'll see. But that first one, solid horror film. And
what about you, Polar? Did it take you a long time to figure out who the killer was? Was it the end of the movie where you're like, oh shit, it's both of them? Or did you kind of have an idea?
So when Scream came out, I was like 6.
Oh,
So,
oh.
so no, I watched it, but
I was
you
like
don't have that.
36. No.
No, you weren't. I know you weren't. You're not that much older than me. But I didn't quite have that critical thinking going on yet. But so the movie was spoiled, and I wish I could experience it for the first time as an adult.
Mhm.
Because I just watched my sister watching it and stuff, and every time something scary happened, I covered my eyes. So I don't actually remember my first time
I don't know if I
watching
can tell you
Scream.
anything I watched at 6. Like,
Yeah, I was a little bit younger, but I do remember very distinctly her rewatching the Casey Becker killing. That's the opening scene over and
Right.
over and over again, because it's VHS days, so you have to like play it a little bit, push play, push play, because she was trying to pause it on the scene where it's showing her hanging from the tree. So that's the memory I really have, is just seeing that scene over and over and over again, trying to get it just right to pause.
and that
But
was
yeah,
that was a wicked scene, her hanging from the tree. It was very creepy.
it was so well done. But yeah, I remember as a small child it scaring me, but seeing it as an adult, I already knew who the killers were, but I still think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
I was suspicious of Billy, but Stu did surprise me.
Yeah, I mean, like I thought it was Billy the whole time, and then until then he gets arrested, and I'm just like, well, shit, it's not him. Like, it never dawned on me, that I think that I was probably around 18 years old, when that came out, and it just it for some reason, just all the horror movies, all the slasher movies up to that point for me, it was one killer. And it just never dawned on me that there would be two. And when there were two, it was like, oh, wow.
Oh wow.
I did not see any of this coming. Now knowing what we know, I think that there were 2 killers in every Scream but 3, right?
Correct.
But if we have to go down that road, there was originally 2 killers, and then after they showed it to the Weinsteins, they were like, oh no, you need to make it 1 killer. So there really is 2 killers in that movie. They just only recognized 1 in the reveal.
And that was the girl that played Sydney Prescott
Yeah.
in Stab, right?
Yeah, like Angela or something, or Angelina. Mhm.
Yeah.
She was what now? The girl that played in Stab?
She played Sydney.
Okay.
Yeah, she was going to be the second killer.
Okay, that's what I was getting at. She was going to, okay.
Yeah. But
Okay.
yeah, so for me, definitely I didn't see it coming, and I was a little older than 6, so it was just like, wow, just based off of everything that I had seen
Did
at
you
that
ever
point
for
with
a
the
minute
slasher, it just
suspect
didn't
Randy?
fall into any of that category with that stuff.
I always thought it was, and I think it probably has to do with Scary Movie, but there was a time where I was like, they're going to make Dewey the killer or Gil just because of the Scary Movie franchise. Like, always pointing at Dewey as a suspect.
I remember I thought Randy for a minute on the first
Did you?
one because I thought that would have been bonkers. Like, yeah,
I never thought Randy ever.
I might have thought everybody for like a
No.
split second, but
Not
yeah,
Randy.
I thought maybe Randy.
Randy was too involved with the rules and trying to, no, don't do that. Don't do
Which
this.
truly is why I think it would have been so shocking.
Yeah.
But
It would have been better than killing him.
Oh God.
Right?
We'll get it. Well, we're about to get into Scream 2 here in a minute.
Right.
You want to talk about disappointments on my end? Let me tell
We're
you.
gonna break the internet over that rant.
Yeah, like I was so. I mean, it was still one of my favorite lines in the whole franchise, and it's only 2 words when he gets on the phone, and Ghostface, like, you'll never be the leading man. He's like, fuck you. You know what I mean? Like, that was like, it was so like, I was like, that's exactly what I would have said, the exact way that I would have said that. But seriously, it was just, yeah, I was not a fan of Randy dying, but yeah, so to wrap up the first Scream, I think we all kind of feel, somewhat the same way about it. Great characters, it had Ghostface, being the 2 that were chosen to be Ghostface, I think was great. The way that they did everything was fantastic. And even their deaths, when they killed them, and of course, there are people that, love Scream and they love Stu and they're saying, that he's not really dead, but for right now he is, so I won't travel down that rabbit hole, with Stu Macher, but yeah, I really enjoyed that movie. And not only did I enjoy the movie, I enjoyed, the dialogue in the movie, especially towards the end, when they're, it just seems like with Scream, the killer's downfall is always monologuing, like they're a super villain. Like if they would shut up and kill, like Sidney would have died 5 different times if it wasn't for monologuing.
Yep, they make that mistake in every single Scream movie where they're like, let's explain how we got away with this.
Yeah.
And then it's like, no, just stab her. I'm not saying I want Sidney to die. But I'm like, you guys, why would Billy and Stu stab themselves first, injure themselves, and then kill Sidney? It seems like they would kill Sidney first and then, stab each other.
Well, not to get ahead of ourselves, that's not the only time that's happened in the Scream franchise either.
It happens in every one.
even like 4 where people, it's like, stab me first. You know what I mean? He's even using Stu's lines like, get it up.
Right?
Like, oh, we've seen all this before.
Yeah.
Doing this again. But that does bring us to Scream 2. And how did you guys feel about Scream 2? We'll start with you this time, Polar.
So Scream 2 is a solid movie. I mean, they busted this one out. It took them like a year to get it out.
Yeah.
I really love it. It is actually one of the ones I watch less often than the other ones. I don't have any like hard reasons why. Okay, my biggest issue with Scream 2 is that the opening, everything fell into place a little too perfectly for them to actually execute these killings. I like it. I really liked Mickey. I would like to see a Mickey prequel because something that a lot of people miss is that Mickey actually was a serial killer before he even became Ghostface. And I just love that idea of a prequel about his story before Scream. And I really actually didn't mind Mrs. Loomis, played by, Jackie from Roseanne. I liked her. She was crazy and I believed it.
She definitely had the wild eyes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
She's known for those wild eyes, even in Roseanne.
She was great as Jackie. Let's make no mistake about that.
Yeah, she was a fantastic flake. So I do appreciate Scream 2. I just sometimes have issues with how everything comes together a little too perfectly throughout the entire movie.
Yeah.
So I have to suspend my disbelief a little too often in that movie to get through it.
Yeah, there's a couple ones that I have to do that with as well, especially going back and watching all 5 of them this week, to where it's like, yeah, that was a little too convenient. Like, there's no way, but at the same time, it's like, I'm not here to sit here and say this would happen, that would happen. If we start breaking all the slashers down that way, we're going to come out with so many plot
Mhm.
holes in all of the franchises
Yeah.
where it's just like, yeah, that worked out a little too
Yeah.
conveniently. How about you, Matt? How were you feeling about Scream 2?
I thought it sucked.
You didn't like it?
Whoa.
Oh, yeah.
What didn't you like about it?
It just didn't do anything for me. I
Was it because the
sorry guys.
boyfriend thing?
I know this is a big letdown. I didn't care for the
No.
killer. I pretty much, you were talking about the opening scene. I thought the opening scene was cool, and from there, it just didn't get. I did not get into the characters. Did not care for Scream 2 whatsoever. Yeah, it's probably it's one of my least favorites. Absolutely, two and well, it's one of my least favorites. I think I've seen it maybe twice. I've seen Scream 1 probably 15 times. Really like it. And you go from 1 to 2, and it's just, I think it's just depressing how much they missed the mark on that. I just didn't. I didn't, guys. I didn't relate to any of the characters. I couldn't get into it. By the time I'm watching the whole final reveal, I didn't really care. And I agree with you, Michael. I love Jackie and Roseanne, but as far as being a killer, I thought that was a disappointment. Can't get into Scream 2, guys. Can't do it.
I'm actually gonna say that Scream 2 is one of my favorites in the franchise. To be honest, to me, it felt the most out of the sequels like the original, and I think that that's because so much of the original cast was still left. I love the movie dialogue, especially in that one, where, again, it comes down to Randy. He's there. Dewey really stepped it up in this one for me as a character, for me to start caring about another character outside of this. You started to see more of his character development. He was less of the Barney Fife that he was in the first one. In the first one, he was just kind of goofy and kind of falling into the places where he needed to be. But you kind of got to see, the side of him to where, he's grown up a little bit. He's lost his sister. He's lost somebody that was really close to him, and he came all the way up there for Sydney. You heard about what happened, and you get that scene where, she's talking to her friends and she looks over and you hear Dewey's theme song, the Broken Arrow theme song, to which, to me, that's special for that character. And I just really, I did enjoy this one. Mickey, to me, and this will be blasphemy, but I think that Mickey was a better Ghostface than the originals. Just because, not to say he was actually better, he was really a serial killer, like Polar was saying. Like, he was truly, like, she found him on Reddit. You know what I mean? Like, she was talking about, do you know how hard it is to find somebody, in a chat room to help her pull off this plan? But at the end of the day, he was a pawn, just like, pretty much Stu was for Billy. Like, Billy ran that team, and Stu, just going off of the first movie, Stu was talking about, like, you didn't really call the police. My parents are going to be so mad, like, he was. I don't feel like Stu would have been a killer if it weren't for Billy. That's just what I got out of it, from seeing.
He said peer pressure.
Oh, he did. He's like, peer pressure. You know what I mean?
He did. Yes, he did.
And you have to remember, they were kids at the time. Like Polar, you were saying earlier, with the whole costume and everything. You have to remember, it was, they were kids. They were probably 17 years old.
Yeah.
18 tops. And with Scream 2, like, I really did like Mickey. Jackie, to me, you could take it or leave it. That really didn't stick out to me, too much. I mean, she did okay. Like, I didn't really care too much for that, but like I was saying before, like the whole when they were in class talking about movies and stuff, and then he brought it into a sequel. Like, no, the rules have changed. It's a sequel, this and that, and I really like the Randy character. So,
I love
yeah,
Randy.
yeah, part 2 that's definitely up there for me. I'm not gonna say for sure that it's my number 2, but it's definitely towards the top tier for me of
when
that.
Randy went, that took a big piece, I think, out of all the Scream fans, man.
It did.
It did. It took a chunk out of me. Let me tell you.
Yeah, he was.
It did. I just wonder how the movie would be if they would have that was one thing I appreciate about Scream 3 is that it gave him that video because they were having regrets about killing him off. So they were like, oh, we'll just have him come back in a video form. I just wonder how the franchise would be different if they would have just let Randy live.
Well, I would have been watching them more times. I guarantee you that.
Yeah. He was so great. And that scene where he's walking with Sydney and he's in accent and stuff, that wasn't part of the script. He just did it. Jamie Kennedy is actually just an awesome person. I love his podcast. But yeah, I think one of the things I really, really, really hate about Scream 2 is I hate when Sydney's boyfriend sings to her in the cafeteria.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of had that Top Gun moment.
Yeah, I just hated it so
Yeah.
much.
It wasn't a very good
It
moment.
was so cringy.
Russell is saying Mrs. Loomis was great.
Yes.
Darkroom Secrets saying good night all. Thanks for having me. I will be back next week. It was great to have you, Darkroom
Oh
Secrets.
yeah. Pleasure's definitely ours. Thank
For
you.
sure.
Thank you for coming out. Awesome.
Russell is saying the one thing I don't like about Scream 2 is Randy being killed off. Other than that, it was still watchable. That's a tough part for me as well too. I didn't like Randy leaving at all whatsoever.
Yeah, with
Like
even
that-
Russell, he says watchable. There was nothing there was no wow factor in 2 that I can even remember.
There were some very suspenseful scenes though, Haley and or Holly and Sydney crawling across Ghostface to get out of the cop car.
Yeah.
And then Gail's famous chase scene through the sound studio. There's some really good stuff in there. I'm just not exactly sure why it doesn't work for me because I don't watch that one as much, but
Do you know one of the things that made me laugh so hard about Scream 2 was at the end and after they've killed, the ghost faces and they're rolling Dewey out on the gurney. What the hell happened to his shoe? He only had one shoe on and he had another shoe gone and his sock was gone too. He just had a bare foot sticking out and I immediately started laughing like, what the hell happened to this guy's shoe? And as it's ending, I'm laughing. And, one of my favorite Dewey scenes is in Scream 2. And if you guys don't mind, I'd like to throw that up there too.
do it.
Go right ahead.
Dewey, I never meant to imply.
How do you know that my dim-witted inexperience isn't merely a subtle form of manipulation used to lower people's expectations, thereby enhancing my ability to effectively maneuver within any given situation?
How Dewey ever got that girl? I have no idea.
I love Dewey. I would date him. I'm just saying.
Dewey is my guy. Seriously.
Yeah. I love it when he quotes Gail's book at her and stuff. His dialogue is great. That's the thing I'm telling you guys why I love Scream so much. His characters are what I'm there for.
Yeah. And I mean, like I said, before, it's the complete opposite of, all the other slashers. They've incorporated the victims to being the main characters as opposed to the killer.
Yeah.
And key word is it is a different type of slasher. It is.
It is. And Jeff is agreeing with you, Matt. I have to agree with Matt. The first one was good. The second one was a letdown for me, and that I didn't watch anymore after that. Jeff, you got to go back and watch some.
You got to give him a try at least. You don't have to love them all, but at least give him a try.
Russell is saying Dewey probably got robbed and they stole his shoe. Yeah.
I'm guessing that came down to something like, let's make, this guy's been through some stuff, so let's make it look like he's been through some stuff. Throw a shoe off.
Pull his sock off too. But I mean, when you start to try to break down the plot holes, like we were saying.
Yeah.
Maybe he just took his sock off and he was trying to make a tourniquet or something. I'm going to give him all the excuses in the world. He embarrasses himself constantly. So.
But it's so great. The way he does it is so great.
He's endearing. Like, I love everything about him.
I'm a big Dewey fan as well.
Yeah, the Scream one, like to show you that he is the boy around the men, is that the one officer is smoking a cigarette, and every time the officer goes to take a hit of his cigarette, Dewey licks his friggin' ice cream cone.
Yeah, he does.
It's to show a contrast that he is still a boy in a sense. Yep. And I love it. I freaking can't get enough of him.
I'm surprised. I would never have noticed that.
Yeah. It's the truth.
Wow.
All right, guys. Scream 2 is in the books. We're moving on to Scream 3. Matt, I'll let you go with Scream 3. What did you like about Scream 3, and what did you not like about Scream 3?
All right, I'm gonna get to that, but I want to say one more thing on this while we're on this Dewey as a boy amongst men thing, because that's actually pretty cool. Because yes, in Scream 1 he is a boy amongst men, but throughout it and what he becomes, like half of those men that thought they were bigger, stronger, badder than Dewey, wouldn't have half the balls to do and go through none of the stuff Dewey does. Like, he's got it deep down. He is a man. But I just had to say that. I just thought that was cool.
I completely agree. That's why I love Scream. There's character art.
Like, yeah, he doesn't have to have the cigarette and the marble shirt and all that. But when it comes down to it, I want Dewey coming for me before any of those other dudes. That's for damn sure. So I just had to throw that in there. So, man, 3, I feel the exact same way about 2. It sucked. I'm so sorry, guys. I think I may have seen it one or two times, and I may go check it out again if I decide to do like a Scream marathon or something like that. I almost stopped watching them. I was almost about done after 3, because I felt the same way I did with 2. Could not get on board, and maybe it's just not my thing, just like Jeff said, and everything's not for everyone, I don't want to say what I'm about to say, but there's even a part of me that feels like possibly Scream should have been a one and done, because it was so good. But I don't know if there's a part of me that feels like it should have just been left at what it was, and it shouldn't have become a franchise. I know that's not a popular.
Yeah, I'm ready to fight you on that one.
Now I'm saying that, but give me some time, because there's also, I'm pretty much, I'm going to say I'm done with the 2 that I could care less about.
Okay.
But there's is a part of me that feels that way. And like, would it stick out even more so as such a cult classic had they not, because I think the franchise has struggled, but I do have positive hopes for what it's going to do in the future, especially with our girl, Jenna coming into the franchise. And so I hope they surprise me. But, we'll get into 4 and 5, but I felt the exact same way. 2 and 3 for me, I can take them or leave them. I'm not even sure I remember the killer in 3 was. Now 3 is the only one with one killer.
It's Roman, Sydney's brother.
Yeah, yes. And I thought he was terrible.
Thank you. I do not like Roman.
Terrible. I wanted to smack him. Like, he seemed like a whiny little bitch to me. And
that's exactly what he is.
Okay. Yeah. I remember that now. And I apologize. I know I don't like these films, but I should have watched them this week to be a little bit more up to speed with them. But all the other ones I've seen multiple times. 2 and 3 could care less, and I remember hating, her brother, but wasn't on board. Don't remember a whole bunch. I don't remember kill scenes that I rewound or wanted to watch again. Just I was about done with the franchise after 3. I'll be honest with you. And they were about to say, "Hey, you want to go check out 4?" Nope, I'm good, dude. Like, yeah.
What about you, Polar?
Completely off the ride by 3.
Yeah, so with time, I have a new appreciation for Scream 3 because initially I wasn't a fan of it. It felt very different, and a lot of people like to say it's like Scooby-Doo-ish for a Scream movie. But now with like some understanding of what was going on behind the scenes, I'm a little bit more forgiving. They were having a lot of studios involvement, telling them to change stuff last minute. They were writing the script on scene. So that, to me, I'm like, wow, you guys produced this movie under that amount of just studio interference and just having to change stuff same day, like 15 minutes, here's your script, learn this, we're going to shoot it in 30 minutes. So I do hear everyone that this Scream 3 one is very Scooby-Doo-ish, because it is. There's a lot of comedy in here. Parker Posey, though, I loved every minute with her and Gail. But I also think that Scream 3 showed us the best Sidney that we've ever had. Her trauma, her PTSD is just on front display. I believed every minute of it. And then also some of the chase scenes in Scream 3 are the best we've seen. So it's like, I think the reason why Scream 3 doesn't do as well is that they struggled to find a balance between the comedy and the horror. And that was their downfall. And also Gail's bangs. That seems to be the only thing people remember about Scream 3 is Gail's horrible hair.
Yeah, it kind of looked like a regular guy's haircut, but with like it was bad. Really long. Like, I don't care about people's hair.
They didn't know if they wanted a cut or a mold.
I notice it. Like, if I'm looking at that, like, God, her hair is terrible. It has to be bad.
So bad. But the joke they made about calling her like Connie Chung or something, like, that is a very Asian haircut to have the short bangs and straight black hair. So I thought that was hilarious, just poking fun at the situation. Her haircut was a mistake. It was clip-on bangs, and they accidentally cut them too short. And they're like, well, we're going to just go with this. I'm like, no, go up to the store and get a new pair of clip-on bangs.
We're gonna roll with this. It'll be fine.
Yeah, this is the Scream franchise, not some made for TV.
Yeah, this isn't like a fan thing. Like,
that takes you back to that Michael Myers. It's like, hey, we're gonna shoot this. We only got a pink Michael Myers mask, but hey, it's just one kill. What's the big deal?
Yes, exactly. Like, those are the things people remember. But I really have a soft spot for Scream 3. Because I think it's the best Sidney we've ever gotten. She's just, I love every moment of Sidney in Scream 3.
I will piggyback from both you guys, actually, on this one. This is my least favorite Scream movie. For some of the reasons you guys said. I really did not like the brother aspect of this movie. I think that it undermined Stu and Billy, to be honest with you, because he was like, it was me, it wasn't them. They weren't smart enough to do this. I just had to push Billy a little bit. And then, Stu was just a follower. It was bad. Like, it tried to take away from the original for me. And, maybe it had a lot to do with what you were saying about, them trying to rewrite things and, taking things out and stuff like that. But I just didn't really like this one as much. It more felt like one of those TV shows where it's like Saved by the Bell goes to Hollywood. You know what I mean? Like, it really felt like that to me. Like, there were some parts in it I liked. Like, I liked the opening scene with Cotton Weary. Yeah, I thought that was decent. I wasn't a big fan of the voice changer, but I understand that they had to do something different to make it a little more, confusing for everyone. And I guess that was okay. But there were a lot of the parts where, I just felt like I was trying to get through this movie to finish it more than I was enjoying what I was seeing next. I did really like the Gail and Parker Posey thing back and forth. I thought that was pretty funny. And then the one guy that was playing like the Randy knockoff character, when he was being chased at the end, I think his name was like Tyson.
Yep.
Yeah. So Tyson is running from, Ghostface, and, he's running, he's turning around the whole time. He's like, "Oh, you motherfucker." You know what I mean? And it's just like, why am I laughing at this point and not being like, I didn't feel like he felt like he was in any danger or anything like that. Like, it was just, I didn't really like this one. I mean, I did really like the bodyguard, calling Dewey Dewdrop, like that made me laugh, and stuff like that. But I mean, at the end of the day, I know they had to make if this was only a trilogy, I would have been upset. You know what I mean? Like, if it had ended on this, but they did bring my boy back, even if it was on a videotape, and he kind of laid down the rules of the trilogy and everything. And it was good to see that. But at the end of the day, I didn't really like the Ghostface character either. Like Matt was saying before, and like you were saying, it just didn't hold any weight with me. Like, they were trying to make it big. They were trying to make it about Sydney's mom, and giving you some, ideas about her past. Oh God, there's so many things that I want to say that I don't really want to say on here, that I felt about that, and, what they were doing, and some of the messages that they were sending across about Hollywood, and, the way that things are. And it was just like,
It's just funny because that's what happened with the Weinsteins.
It's exactly the direction. Yes, it was. That was definitely the direction, I was going with that. And it was just like, hey, guess what? In what was that, 2001 that came out or something like that?
Yeah, it was like Wes was calling them out or something.
Yeah,
like, how did this even happen?
And I mean, it isn't, realized until years later, when you're just like, oh yeah, I can see where they were trying to show people what was really going on there. But yeah.
I was just wondering, do you guys realize where the Milton Mansion is? It's from another one of your guys' favorite franchises.
Yes, that's Halloween H2O.
Okay. Yep, we just wanted to make sure you guys knew that.
Yes, that is.
Michael does his sexy little come down thing.
Yep.
And where is it located?
It's in California.
Okay.
Yeah. So but I mean, we did get my boy Lance Hendrickson in there, even though he was he was that guy. But
yeah, he was that guy.
I mean, that's all I really want to say about that subject. But yeah, he was that guy. And I got Jay and Silent Bob for a quick second. You know what I mean? I did get that. So Kevin Smith, Jay Muse, they got their little cameo in there. Jay and Silent Bob showing up. But yeah, Scream 3 for me, that's a thumbs down on that one. But yeah. And wrapping up Scream 3, does anybody else have anything that they want to add?
No, I don't.
That's like, no, like, I'm done.
No, let it burn. Just let it burn.
Let it burn. Let it burn. All right, so we are moving on to Scream 4. I started with Matt last time. Actually, why don't I go first on this one? I haven't gone first yet. Scream 4. The introduction to Kirby. Oh God, I fell in love with Kirby the moment I saw that. I'm sorry. I did. I really like what's his name? Rory Culkin in that movie. I did like him is the Ghostface. I felt like as the movie was going on, there wasn't a whole lot with his character, but then there was all of a sudden towards the end. Like, I was like, yeah, I really like this character. I love Anthony Anderson, but I really didn't like. He got stabbed in the forehead with a knife, and he was able to get up and swing his arm a few times.
Comical, man.
Like F. Bruce Willis.
And then F. Bruce Willis before he died. It's like, bro, I love Anthony Anderson, but what? First of all, how did that knife go through his forehead? You know what I mean? Like, what kind of force are you gonna have?
Hey, they did it in Scream 2. It went through a bathroom stall and through his head.
True, it did.
I mean, I call bullshit too.
But maybe it was just a little more blatant with Anthony Anderson because it was like through a car window. Like it was just flat out like
How
right
to
in the
catch a knife
forehead.
go all the way through Bob into the door and then keep him hanging there. It's just a movie is all you can say with that stuff.
Yeah, I would have enjoyed watching his struggle as they're trying to pull it back out. You know, like, I don't know if you guys split wood or anything, but if you hit the wood wrong and then you have to fight it to get it out for a second, that would have made me laugh.
Yeah. I mean, but overall, you know, with this movie, you know, I enjoyed it a lot more than Scream 3. And I don't know if I think that it's that great of a movie because of what Scream 3 was before it. I would have to say, see, I'm kind of stuck like on the fence here with these sequels. I really like Scream 2, but I also really like Scream 4, and it's also the first one without Randy in it. You know what I mean? Dewey, way more character progression for him. You know, you see that he's taken over as the sheriff. You know, he's starting to come into his own. It's the introduction to his deputy. What's her name?
Judy.
Judy. Yes.
Yeah, Judy.
Lemon Square's Judy. Right. And so you have, you know, Gail living with him in Woodsboro, and that's, you know, you see that they're finally together, and you get all of that, and it's just a great. I really like this one, you guys. I really like the characters, you know, not including the main cast. You know, I like the main cast already, but the newer characters that they introduced, I thought that the neighbor scene getting killed was absolutely brutal. You know what I mean? Like that stuff was absolutely brutal. And it's like, you know, he throws her out she's like hanging out the window at the end, and you can just see, like you can just see like through the door, and it's just, there's blood freaking everywhere. And it's just like, that's not the normal Scream that we're used to seeing.
I had a little bit of an issue with Olivia's death though, because I was cool with it, like the actual kill, but when Sydney goes up to the room, like it looks like they just went in there with a bunch of like paint cans and were like it wasn't realistic, and that kind of frustrated me because blood. We've all watched Dexter. Blood doesn't splatter like that, so that was my one nitpick where I was like, I can't do this. I can't.
Well, it was like walking into the cabin of Friday the 13th Part 6. When he killed that girl. And do you remember that, Matt, where he goes into that cabin?
Absolutely.
And it's just red.
Covered.
You know, that's what it reminded me a lot of. And you know, it just wasn't very characteristic of Scream. And but I liked it. You know what I mean? Before we get to you, Polar, with this, let me catch up on the chat because we've been talking for quite a while, and I am really far behind.
Quick little restroom break. I'll
sure.
be right back myself.
Yeah, I'm gonna be off and going one as well.
Allison is saying 3 was my least favorite. Russell talking about David Arquette and Courtney Cox, that they're still friends in real life, but they are not married. Scream felt like a fan film. Scream 3 felt like a fan film. Yeah, I mean it. You know, these guys were weighing in on it as well, but yeah, to me, it just wasn't. It just didn't hold up like the rest of them did, in my opinion. Kristen Marie is in the chat, and she's saying, "Hey everyone, hey Kristen, nice of you to join us tonight. Welcome." Let's see. James is saying, "Scream is not my cup of tea. My niece now knows more about these movies. She loves watching them." You know, I've not been, you know, a huge Scream fan in the past. You know, going through these movies this last week in prep for the show, you know, of course I've seen them all. But watching them one right after the other, you know, through the course of the week, I had a great time doing it. You know, I had more fun watching these movies than I thought I would. And it makes me look forward to the new one even more. You know, and I'm very glad that I haven't paid attention to any of the spoilers or, you know, and I haven't hung out in the rooms like I was saying, you know, that I usually do just because everybody's talking about Scream 6. And I really don't want to know anything about Scream 6 going in. It's just something I want to do going into this one, you know, not knowing anything. I shot him 6 times. What is up, my man? Movies and Beyond. What's up, Michael? Great panel. Who's your number one suspect for Scream 6? I shot him 6 times, my man. I do not have a suspect. I have been keeping myself away from all of the Scream 6 talks. I watched the original teaser trailer. Other than that, I know nothing, and I'm sticking with that. And I've only got to make it 4 more days, my brother. 4 more days. And that's all I got to do.
That's the best way to go in, is going blind.
Yeah, and I don't get to do that very often, so this will be a little bit new for me, but I'm excited about it. Russell is saying Kirby is awesome. Yes, Kirby is awesome. You know, I love the character, especially, you know, I just love the character. You know, like even in the beginning where she's flying by in the car and Dewey's like, slow down, and he's like, it's Kirby. You know what I mean? Like, she definitely has, you know, the way that she is definitely known to the people in the town, especially you know Dewey. And when she started rattling off the titles of those movies, you know, like this girl watches some horror movies. You know, she is just throwing them titles out when Ghostface is on the phone with her, and it's just like my eyes are getting bigger and bigger. Like I think that I am actually in love with this girl.
I have
no, seriously.
Like
yeah. And Kirby was the audience's like across the board crush. Everyone loved her. Yeah.
All right.
So is that what we're on? Is that what I missed? We're on Kirby?
He's just still reading the chat, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm just catching up. Movies and Beyond, smart man, giving completely blind. Nothing wrong with that, my friend. You know what, dude? I'm this is a first for me with a lot of things. You know, I like to get in these trailers. You know, I like to talk about these movies, but yeah, I've been keeping myself in the dark on this one, man. Definitely glad to have you here, brother. I haven't talked to you in a long time. All right. So whose turn was it to talk about Scream 4? I think I pretty much said anything that I want other than comments about what you guys are saying.
You go and then get you a break. I know you need a quick little break.
So. Oh, you guys both went. Left me by myself while I was talking to everybody. It's fine.
You beat me that bad. Oh, wow. Okay.
All right. I was in and out. I was like, we mean business. So.
All right. So, okay. Never mind. I was trying to be respectful. So, Polar, you're up.
So, hot take, Scream 4 is my favorite sequel out of the Scream franchise. So, I love every part of it except the opening. I wish that there was some shuffling about with that opening. The girls that were in the actual reality, not part of the stab movies, I didn't like them. Marnie and her other friend, I can't think of her name right now. But I didn't like them, but I did like the first opening girls that were killed that were supposed to be part of the stab movie. How do you guys feel about the opening? Did you like the fake out?
I did. I was okay.
You did?
It's nothing I'm saying I was, you know, thrilled about, but yeah. I thought it was
okay. Because by the third, I was like, is this real yet? So.
Yeah, like I got annoyed with it really quick.
Yeah, with how many times they drug it out a bit. But it didn't bother me.
Okay. I just think I would have liked it more if it was like Lucy Hale's character and that other girl, if they actually would have been the real ones that were in the Scream movie, not the stab movie. If that makes any sense. I just preferred their dialogue more than the actual girls.
Yeah, I just got annoyed really quick with it. You know, it's just like, oh god, another one.
Yeah, I think that's the only, because it's not quite to the original status as far as me loving it, but I watched that one just as much as I watched the original Scream. I love Scream 4 so much. I love that we got the double third act. Like, that's awesome. You think it's going to end at the party, but no, it actually ends at the hospital. Like, how awesome was that? And also just Sydney, she's went through so much shit. She's been betrayed by her boyfriend, who she lost virginity to. She's been betrayed by friends, and now she's being betrayed by her own cousin. Like, that hurt.
Yeah.
So in Scream 4 introduced us to Kirby, and Kirby actually is probably my favorite character out of the entire franchise. So
How
Just
did she think she was going to get away with that though? Once the hospital stuff started to go down.
no. Debating that the other night on a different stream. Like people were
Oh,
like, "Oh,
really?
I think she could have gotten away with it." I was like, "No."
Nope. It was over at that point.
Puller,
Like,
I love you saying that, but it surprises me. So you're talking Kirby over Randy, over Dewey, and all of them. That's a big statement. I'm just saying that's surprising.
hmm
I dig it.
Yeah,
Saying
I'm
over.
sorry.
No,
I think
I
I froze for a second there again too, so I'm sorry if I missed anything.
Oh, did you hear what I said to you?
I think I did. I caught at least the end piece of it about Dewey.
So it was, yeah. So you said Kirby
Mm-hmm.
is your favorite character,
Yeah.
and that's of all over Randy, Dewey, all of them.
So it's pretty darn hard to decide. I think I was the most excited about Kirby coming back, but
That's cool.
it's just so hard. There's so many great characters in this franchise that it's really hard to choose your favorite. It's kind of like
I
trying
get
to
it.
figure out what your favorite movie is that week. It's constantly changing with Scream. But yeah, I would say Kirby and Dewey in the end are my favorite.
Okay.
what about you for Scream 4, Mad Matt?
Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you guys right now, I am back. And you guys revived me. You both have surprised me. Michael, you and Polar. I've been talking with a lot of people. Along with you, we're at the horror booth, every weekend. And I've come across a lot of people who seem like they could care less about Scream 4.
Mm-hmm.
And I was starting to feel like the oddball, because let me tell you right now, for me, 4 revived the franchise. I was pleased to see that you and Polar both feel the same way. I absolutely loved it, man. And it was again a breath of fresh air. Love Kirby, just like you guys. Rory Culkin is actually one of my favorite, actors. I think he's underrated. Everything he does, he nails it. And he did just that as well in Scream 4. And another thing I'll piggyback off of Polar as far as the ending, where you do think it's going to end in the barn, and then you get the whole hospital thing. And Emma Roberts, I also big fan of hers, and I thought she was great in there. And then for them two to be the killers together, there's nothing I don't like about 4. There's kills in there. They go back to the roots of all the characters. Even the new ones that they bring in are memorable, relatable. In my opinion, it's the best Scream since the original. I absolutely love Part 4.
Yeah.
And I like that you both have positive things to say about Charlie, because Charlie gets so much hate. And
I don't understand why.
I don't understand that either.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think it's because in the end it turned into similar to like Stu with Billy, like Randy saying he was a lapdog. Charlie was just desperate for Jill's approval or some female approval, and that's exactly what it seemed like Stu was doing. But his phone calls were so good, where he's like, "I'm going to slit you or your eyelids so that you can watch me stab you in your face." I was like, "Oh,
yeah,
I felt that." Like, whoa,
that's dark. Yeah. That's badass.
Mm-hmm.
That's I even I did a Scream painting not too long ago, and it's a Scream 4. I went with Scream 4. It's a pretty simple Ghostface painting. And when I was done with it, I was looking at I painted the face of Ghostface, and when I was looking at it, I liked it, but I felt like it needed a little bit more, and I threw a 4 in there, man. I made it a Part 4 painting, and framed it and everything. But Yeah, I'm a big fan, man. I thought it was great, and this is also coming off of where, like I told you guys earlier, I was about to be done with the franchise, and then they come out with this. I thought it was a juggernaut, man. I thoroughly enjoy it. I watch it quite often, actually.
Yeah, four's great.
It's a fun ride.
Great. And it's unfortunate, I think, because we were talking about box office numbers earlier. 4 was so under-marketed that I was older at the point when 4 came out, so I could have went and seen that in theater without any issues. I didn't even know it was in theater because it wasn't marketed.
I want to agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah, if they would have marketed that one, I would love to see what the numbers would have came in as, because I think 4 is so ahead of the times too. Like,
yeah, I actually did see 4 in the theaters.
Oh, did you? I'm
so the same way about 4. I think that's awesome because I ran across a lot of people who are like, "Ugh, 4." I've even saw people look at the painting I did, and that's pretty cool, but it's 4. It's like,
oh, dude, I want your painting. I love 4. Yeah, I think some people didn't like how Jill is like Sydney, because it sounded very Brady Bunch like. But I freaking love that. I was like, she gets it though. She was ahead of her times. At least the entire movie was ahead of its times, where she understood that someday social media is where people are going to gain their fame. They're not going to have to go to school anymore, go to university and get real jobs. They can just become social media platforms. Like his script was ahead of times, and maybe that's why it wasn't appreciated.
That's so true.
It was 2011. So you got to think that was 12 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, that came out. So the script was probably written like a year before that. So it was very ahead of, the times with that.
Wes had some kind of like time traveling capabilities because he was ahead of times on several of these movies.
Yeah.
And Polar, it's a done deal. You put that up on your wall, I will get you that painting. It is yours.
Dude, I need to. Most of my like little trinkets and stuff are like shirts because I don't have a lot of room to like display.
It's small. It's an 8x10, I believe. It's not.
Oh yeah.
But I will get it to you, Polar.
Dude, I will buy that for me. Like,
you don't have to buy it; it's yours.
Oh well, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Russell is saying, "I'm also going into Scream 6 blind. I shot him 6 times." Val, the general, is in the chat saying, "Good evening, all. Sorry I'm late. I was watching Gerald's game." What's up, Val? I always salute the general. Val is also saying Scream 4 was meh for me. I hated the motive.
No, Val.
It's like, hey, Val. No, Val.
No, Val. I wish there wasn't a radio tower or anything in Scream 4.
Oh, God.
I love all this Kirby love. Like,
yeah,
man.
Val is also saying Kirby is the highlight of 4. Kirby is the highlight of 4.
She owned that movie. She was amazing. She even kind of outshone Nev Campbell, which I don't often say that, but Kirby rocked it.
She did rock.
Russell is also saying, I saw Scream 4 in theaters. Me too, Russell. I really came out of that movie liking that one.
That's great.
I shot him 6 times, says Val, the general. Aloha, Val. And Val was reiterating what you were saying. It was so under-marketed.
I didn't know it was in the theater.
Yeah, there was a lot of people, apparently. Like, I don't really remember how I knew it was in theaters, but then again, it was 12 years ago, and I am getting older. I can't remember what I did last Tuesday, let alone 12 years ago.
All right. Just like what Puller said, I'd love to see those numbers had it have been marketed, right?
Like marketed to the extremes that this current one is being marketed at. Wow. Like they have a thing at Times Square right now for Ghostface. Like, how cool is that?
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah. James would like to see your Ghostface painting, Matt.
Okay. Now I'm no Picasso, guys. Don't get your hopes too high.
It's gonna be like a stick figure, with like big hands, like a knife in it. Like,
oh my gosh.
Got a little bit of art skill.
This is my art. I don't even. Oh, it's not going to show, but I have. Yep, there it is. That was my art I sent to my aunt recently.
You're frozen, Polar.
No.
Yeah, we can't see it.
I might have to come out or go out and come back in. It's
Yeah, go
literal
ahead.
stick figures that I drew, and it's so embarrassing.
That's like my art right there. If I were to draw anything, it would be like the stick figures.
Yeah. All right, I'll be right back, guys. Sorry.
Right.
What's
But
up,
yeah,
Michael?
man. So 4 was a big one for me. Like
all of this, it was so cool.
yeah,
Lord.
and I mean it was brutal. You know, sure there were some unbelievable points, but at the same time, you know, you're always gonna have that with some of these. And again, you know, I really liked Rory Culkin like as the killer. And
Yeah, I thought this was a rare one. I liked that most people didn't, but yeah. Right on.
Yeah, and usually that's funny. You know, realistically, I could love it, you could hate it, or vice versa, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, that's usually how we roll. Well, that's how we roll, right?
All right, let's see them stick figures.
Oh, geez. Let's see if it shows. Okay, give it a second to focus. That was me drawing a picture.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, that's about on par with my art right there.
I was trying to explain a memory to my aunt. I was like, where was this? Where is this location? This is what I remember. So I drew a circle pretty much with stick figures in it. It's embarrassing, but that's my talent there.
I get it. All right, so are we wrapped up on Scream 4? Are there any more thoughts? Are there any more thoughts with Scream 4?
I was gonna throw one more thing at you guys.
Yeah, go for it.
And I know that you mentioned we're not gonna go down the stew rabbit hole too much, but
right.
I do just want to say one thing that I think because Wes wanted Kirby to survive, that's why he panned away to leave it open to us, and that's why they're bringing her back, is because they are trying to fulfill some of his wishes. So one thing I have to think about is that if you remember the third act where Jill gets the defibrillators to her head, you remember that did not kill her. It actually was her getting shot in the chest following the defibrillators that killed her.
Right.
So I think because Wes did want Stu to come back, that was his original plan, is he was coming back.
For 3, right?
For 3, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying that I think the reason he did that is he was setting up the story to say, hey, if she could survive getting electrocuted right in her head, Stu could survive having a TV drop on his head and electrocute him. So
yeah, but he was feeling woozy before he even took the TV.
He was. Maybe getting electrocuted cauterized all those
Hell, I feel woozy every morning, man. Come to and get going. It's no big deal.
Yeah, I don't want to do too much Stu talk, but I'm just throwing that out for you guys.
If the fans want it bad enough, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It's the movies.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
If Emperor Palpatine could just come back for no reason whatsoever at the end of freaking the last Star Wars movie they made, and just no reason whatsoever, then Stu can come back from a TV. I mean, the Emperor fell in the Death Star and freaking it blew up, and he somehow came back. So why not? You know, you get a TV dropped on you. You know, it's Hollywood. It's fine. If enough people want it, you know, it's gonna happen.
As long as they execute it well.
Well, you can execute it horribly, and it'll still be there. You know what I mean? Like that's.
Yeah.
I had no idea his original wishes were for Stu to be back in 3. I did
yeah.
Not.
So have you ever watched this show, The Following, with Kevin Bacon?
No.
So what happened was Scream 3, they were going to bring back Stu Macher. And the script was written, and then Columbine happened. So they decided that they needed to tone back on teen violence and stuff. So they ended up just cutting that script altogether. So that's why they did all the rewrites for Scream 3 and why it was such a hectic environment. So the writer of the actual script, he sold it to Fox. And then they made the TV shows The Following, and that's kind of what Stu's story was going to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I knew some of that stuff. I knew about Columbine. I've never seen the show.
It's pretty good. It does drag out a little bit. I think it would have been better as a movie, like it was intended to be. But it was good.
Yeah, I never saw the show, but I did know
Might
about
check
the
that out. It's
Columbine
The
stuff.
Following with Kevin Bacon. Is that what it's called?
I was talking about the Scream show.
Oh.
Where was I off base there?
Did Polar leave us?
I think she froze again. It's okay. It's all right.
Poor Polar having difficulty.
That's okay.
It happens.
I'm sorry. I am having a freezing party over here.
It's
Oh, you're all right. So I think we were talking about two different things. You and I, were we talking about The Following, or were we talking about the Scream TV show?
I was talking about The Following.
Okay, I was talking about the Scream TV show, so I guess I gotta watch both of those.
Yeah.
Oh, you've not seen the Scream TV series?
No.
Oh, very good. I thought it was very good.
Yeah.
And I'm not the biggest Scream fan on here, but I liked it. I liked it.
Yeah. They left
You
us with a
didn't, Polar?
cliffhanger. No, I didn't mind it, but there is a cliffhanger that was never resolved. So just in the third season.
Yeah, I liked the Scream series. I actually did.
How
And
many
it was-
seasons were there?
There were 3.
3.
Oh.
Yeah. And it's like teenagers actually playing the part, which sometimes is, I don't know if I prefer teenagers playing teenagers or if I prefer adults playing teenagers. I'm not sure where I stand there.
I guess
Okay.
really it probably comes down to who it is and their skill level and all that. Now if the Conjuring cast them, I'm down. Like they can be,
You know what I think happened
and they're
for
gonna
me? What I think happened for me with the Scream series is I was like, hey, there's a Scream show. And somebody's like, yeah, it sucks. And I was like, okay. And I just didn't watch it. You know what I mean? Like I honestly think that's what happened with that.
That can happen, Michael.
It can.
Anybody. Like, I've been excited for something after you hear 7, it sucks, is you put it in the back burner.
Yeah,
10 years later, you're like, yeah, they did make that, didn't they? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's so many options out there that you almost do have to take word of mouth from people you trust because they're just pumping out movies and TV shows just constantly. I'm so behind.
Yeah. Did and not to jump off the Scream subject at all, did any of you guys watch Yellow Jackets?
I watched a few episodes.
Okay.
I liked it.
Because I knew that there was supposed to be a new season this year, and I didn't know if it had come out yet or not. But that's
I've never
another
even heard
show.
of that.
Yeah. All right, so we ready to tackle Scream 5?
Yeah.
We get into the last one here. All right, Scream 5. Who wants to go first on Scream 5?
Polar, you take it. You're the guest.
I'm going to be a negative Nancy here, guys, just so everyone's aware. Scream 5 is my least favorite of the franchise. I think, yeah. For like me being such a diehard fan, it just let me down so hard. They strayed away from what I love, which is character development. And some of the kills also I felt were just so unbelievable. It's like, you're not going to survive that. Mm-hmm. So and of course they killed off our favorite person in the entire world and tried to claim Amber did it, who is 5 foot. And her body double was what, 6 foot?
Yeah, it's not like I don't believe a girl couldn't do that. It's science with like weight and strength, and you know what I mean? Like I had a hard time with that as well. And I didn't mean to cut you off there. I just didn't want to lose that point.
No, you're good.
I had a really hard time with that. It's like you are going to split him on both sides and lift that blade all the way up and basically lifting him up off the ground. And it's just like every time I watch that, it just oh god.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because she's really small. I think she's like 5'1", 5'2" tops.
Yeah.
And I'm not buying it. Sorry, no. And he's a cop. Like he's had, even though I know he has some disabilities from all his spinal stabbings, I'm still gonna say he has some kind of tactical training from being an officer. Like, I don't know. I'm just not buying that this little 16-year-old girl took down Dewey.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
There's.
Yeah.
What about you, Matt? Where are you at on 5?
So it's interesting. It's been great talking with you guys about this too, because like I said, I'm the guy who fell off with 2 and 3. Didn't think I was going to come back. Absolutely loved 4, and then 5 for me. I liked it. It was. I'll just say solid. I'm not gonna. It's gonna go number 1 for me, 4, 5, and I'm done. Yeah, man, I thought 5 was pretty good. Now, is back to the Dewey thing. That sucked. It did. But there's a part in there that and I let that be my favorite part, because when she says it's an honor when she kills him, I thought that was so badass. Like, I thought it was so badass. So it kind of took away from the whole, like, could this person killing, was she too small, whatever. Like, it just sucks him dying no matter what. If it's a 6 foot, or 7 foot behemoth, or a little, girl, it just sucks either way. But it's an honor. I thought that was very cool.
That was a good line.
Yeah, it kind of gave me some chills on that part, and it's rare for me to get chills, but I thought that was pretty cool. And so then I thought I liked Dewey. I liked his character, and what he had going on with Gale and everything. You kind of felt for him, and it brought up their whole long past and everything. I thought it was pretty cool. Now, as far as it's not my favorite. I like what he says. What's that line, Michael, when he says,
"Oh, it stabbed deep. You must be the killer because that cut deep," or something like that.
That was great. I thought Dewey was great.
That was classic Dewey right there.
This is his movie to shine. I think it's because they knew it was him going out. They needed to make sure he really shone.
Yeah, and then I thought Jenna Ortega was awesome as well. I liked her a lot.
Amazing.
So
how do you feel about Billy stuff?
Not a huge fan.
No.
Like her seeing Billy and all that. Like,
yeah.
Not take it or leave it.
That was Skeet, like just de-aged. So I'm always curious to know how people felt about how it looked.
Because they were that really was Skeet.
Yeah, that was really
just with
Skeet.
Makeup and everything. Like,
they used like a de-aging on them.
Okay. I didn't hate it. It didn't like ruin the movie for me. I thought it was a little weird. But all around, I give it a 7, 6.5, 7 out of 10. Like, I thought it was pretty good.
Let me catch up with the chat.
Watch
real
it
fast
10 times over before I put in 2 or 3. That's for sure.
Oh, that's
I just don't know what it is about those. They just don't do it for me. And
well, maybe now since I've given you some background, you can watch 3 and maybe
I will.
It'll make you forgive it a little bit, just a smidge.
I asked a good friend to borrow their set, and they just didn't come up for me. But that can go like that.
So all of the screams there for a second where, he's dying, what's stop?
What'd you say? I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just saying all the screams were on YouTube, just so you know, for free recently.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll check them out. I'll check them out. And I've seen them. It's just been a while. It's been a while. And I mean, hell, I was young when the first Scream came out too. I want to say I was junior high. I want to say. So gosh, what's that put me? 12, 13?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I was in junior high. Maybe a freshman. I'm not sure. Was that 96?
Yeah.
The first Scream? 96. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So James is saying the only way I could paint Ghostface is paint by numbers. I shot him 6 times, says woozy enough that after saying that, he charges full speed. It's Sid.
It's true.
Hi, friends. I'm so sorry I'm late. What's up, Katie? How you doing,
Hi,
Katie?
Katie.
James is saying, man, I'm going to shoot that skunk 6 times. I can't stand the smell. It's driving me crazy. Okay. Val is saying seasons 1 and 2 were awesome. Season 3 was meh.
Yeah.
So I'll just watch the first 2 seasons. And then see, there I go, doing what I did last time and missed the whole thing. I shot him 6 times. The first 2 seasons of Scream was great, in which they needed to finish the Lakewood story, which is why they needed to finish the Lakewood story. Russell is also saying the first 2 Scream seasons was the best.
They're good. They are.
Yeah, definitely. I really need to catch up on that one. Russell saying season 3 they brought the OG mask back.
That's
so,
true. That's
so
true.
did they not have the OG mask before?
No, it's a slightly different mask.
Yeah.
First 2 seasons.
It had its own story, like origin story and stuff.
I
Okay,
actually
Brandon something. What's his name?
Brandon James.
That's it. Okay.
Brandon James. And that mask, when I first saw it, like I mean, I'm like this with anything. If it's not what I'm used to seeing, when I first see it, I'm just like, ugh, what the hell is that? You know? But a lot of that stuff can grow on you after time. And the Brandon James mask is pretty cool. And there's a guy on Etsy that does one that's got like the blood splatter, and it's like super screen accurate. And I'd like to get that in my collection. But yeah, you have to. I'll show you some next weekend, Michael. They're pretty cool looking.
All right.
But then for the 3rd season, they went back to the original Scream map. So that was kind of cool too.
Val didn't like the storyline in season 3 as well. Russell is saying, yes, I saw Yellow Jackets. It was a crazy series. It was crazy. Yellow Jackets. I really like Yellow Jackets. Jeff said that night all. He's heading out. All right, Jeff, you have a good one, buddy. I'm sure you're gone at this point.
Buddy.
Thank you. Shot him 6 times saying the main character on the TV show weren't teenagers, mid to mid 20s like the movies.
Oh, were they?
I'm sure.
They looked so young to me. I was like, oh.
Val is saying Scream 5 was overall just an okay movie. The motive sucked once again. Not enough new character development. And that seems to be kind of the theme with Scream 5. Although Russell is saying Scream 5 was good.
I liked it. I liked it.
Yep, I agree. 5 was about Dewey, and it really was. But man, it still hurt when he died. Like that kind of just put me in a funk when that happened.
Yeah.
You know, for the rest of the movie, I just like kind of shut down with it. You know, and I watched it again today, and I mean, it wasn't terrible.
Can't all go forever, guys.
Yeah. James is saying, I may not know very much about Scream, but I still enjoy seeing this show each Sunday night. You guys put on a good show. Thank you, James. I appreciate it, buddy.
Absolutely, James. Thank you, buddy.
All right, so I'll talk a little bit about Scream 5. I will say this, even though the very beginning of Scream 5 was not a kill, it was still my favorite opening of a Scream movie. And I know that that's a lot with Drew Barrymore, but I loved the back and forth with Jenna Ortega. I did. I thought it was great. I like the whole idea about him being able to hack the phone and unlock the doors. I think that it gave some suspense to it, and it's, maybe I'm not saying it's better, but I felt like after the Drew Barrymore opening, it was just kind of, 2 wasn't. Hell, there wasn't even a phone call in the opening bit of 2. It was in a movie theater, which I think is probably the only one that didn't have an opening phone call, if I'm not mistaken.
You're correct.
Yeah, it should be.
You're correct.
But yeah, 5. Like I love the opening sequence, but then again, it wasn't a kill, so I don't really know if it counts. But I had a great time with that. As for the rest of the movie, like I had a lot of problems with like continuity and how people got from one place to the other. How far away was what's her name? Sam from Jenna Ortega's character to have to drive there, because there were just a lot of things being done to where her boyfriend Richie would have had to be in the same multiple, like there were a lot of things that didn't make sense to me, and maybe you guys can explain something to me. The character Vince, who gets killed while he's taking a piss on the wall.
I was so mad about that.
What was the whole point of him? Yeah, but what was the whole point of him being in the movie?
This is where they went wrong with Scream 5, is that they turned it into a common slasher where they don't develop any of these characters, and then you don't care when they die. He's Stu's nephew.
Okay.
So that's what his character was, is that he was just Stu's nephew. So they were trying to say, like, oh, in this movie they're going back to people who have some form of a connection to the original
Now, did
crew.
they say that in the
That's what I was
movie
gonna
that he
say.
was
How did
Stu's
they
nephew?
know that?
They did, yeah. So at the one scene where they're having like the get together with all the friends, where they've called everyone in, they have to do the rules, you know.
Okay.
They
When
say that's
Mindy's
Stu's
giving,
nephew.
yep, when Mindy's doing the rules, I think it was what's her name? I can't think of her name. She's the girl that gets shot in the head. She's like, oh, it's Stu Macher's nephew or something. Someone
When he pulls up in
recognizes
the car
the
in the
name.
distance, and they're all looking at him, right?
No, it's at the house is where they figure out that
Oh,
he was
okay.
related. Yeah, he's Leslie Macher's son. And then they're like,
Okay.
oh, that's Stu Macher's nephew then.
Okay.
So yeah, it was just someone thrown in to make that connection. And I think that they could have done so much more with him, because the guy is a fantastic actor. It would have
Yes,
been
he
so
is.
good. Yes,
Yes, he is.
I love him.
I just
Yes.
felt like it was a waste, you
It
know, like
was.
with him. Like I
He's
didn't
the
really
haunting
feel
in
like
Connecticut kid, right?
it
He's
was.
what?
He was the kid haunting in Connecticut kid.
Yes, and then
And
he
he's also in New
also
Nightmare, the remake.
yeah, the new Freddy movie.
Yeah, he is the shit. I like him a lot.
Yeah, he was in Smile. Like he's
Yeah.
becoming big again.
Yeah.
So another thing that I didn't like continuity wise is when Sam was attacked in the cafeteria at the hospital.
Yeah.
Like I couldn't put that together either, because the one girl was with the police chief, you know, being questioned. So that means that it had to be the guy that was watching Netflix. You know, it had to be Richie that
Her
did that.
boyfriend.
And you're telling me that Jenna Ortega didn't see him leave and do that and then come back? Like that kind of like twisted me up, you know,
Mhm.
and in between, you know, some of those things like that, it just, I don't know, like it just isn't really that high on my list of a
Yeah.
Scream movie. Although it did have parts that I liked, it probably had more parts that I didn't. If I was ranking this movie, now I don't think it's as bad as 3, but
I do.
it's definitely down there on my list for a lot of the things that we, you know, all 3 of us touched on for
Yeah.
this. But again, like I said, the opening for me was probably my favorite opening out of all of them, because some of them, if I'll be honest with you guys, 100%. A lot of times, if I'm watching a Scream movie, I've seen the openings enough times where I'm just like, I'm gonna hit the skip one on this. You know, I don't really need to see that. Like,
I do that in Scream 4. I do actually skip over that one.
like,
I'm
yeah,
surprised I left.
definitely in Scream 4. Like, that's definitely a skip. Scream 2's a skip for me a lot of times.
I don't skip anything. If I'm putting it in, I'm watching the whole thing. I don't skip.
Now it's like
I
I've
don't
seen it.
just skip the whole movie. But I'm surprised I didn't mention that too, Michael, because you're absolutely right. It was a fantastic opening with 5. I liked it too. The whole back and forth in the kitchen, and yeah, the locks on the door and all that. Yeah.
The only problem with the opening though is they showed it in the commercial or in the trailer, so you knew he gets in.
I like
Yeah.
to stay away from trailers if at all possible. Because
I mean, that was my biggest complaint with Halloween Kills in the fire scene. You know what I mean? It's like, how
that
dope
trailer
would
was
that have
way too
been?
much.
You know,
That trailer was way too much. It was. As
Can
soon
you
as I
imagine?
watched it, I regretted it. I was like,
Yeah.
I mean, and
Fight Fire.
that's one of the reasons why I'm staying away from the trailers for this, you know, Scream 6.
I don't blame you,
Yeah.
but sometimes they show too much.
They do show a death in one of the trailers. Just so you
See?
know.
Yeah,
Don't
good.
watch
I didn't
it.
see it.
Yep, don't watch it. Stick to the
You
teaser.
know, give us a few characters talking, 1 or 2 little clips of a killer, but you're not even sure really what he's doing, and then just bring up the title and be done with it.
Yeah, let's go
You know,
back to
we-
old school, just a voiceover.
Yeah, we don't need. Yeah,
Yeah, what happened to that guy in a world where
Yeah.
everything is this way, but you think it's that way. You know what I mean? Like, what
No
happened to
one
that
is
guy?
safe.
That
Yeah,
was awesome.
let's do it. I'm all
Yeah.
for it. Stop
Sometimes
spoiling my
after-
damn movies.
Yeah.
Sometimes after the trailer, you don't even feel like you need to watch it. You're like, I got the gist.
Yeah, I pretty much know what's gonna happen here.
Yeah.
I pretty much know. So Scream 5. Does anybody else have anything to add? I think a lot of the actors too. It was just like meh.
It was, and I'm sorry, I didn't like Sam, the girl that played Sam, and I've watched some of her other movies because I know some people have said like, oh, she's medicated, and that's why she just came. A lot of people are using the expression wooden, like she was very wooden.
Yeah.
And I'm
Stiff.
just saying she was like, and so I was like, okay, I'll go with the fact that she's medicated and they're pushing that. Well, then I watched a few of her other movies, and that's just who she is when she acts.
Now, which
So-
one's Sam?
Sam is Tara's sister. She's the one that's dating Richie, who ends up being the killer. She's Billy's daughter.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
So she just, I mean, the ending where she destroys Richie was awesome. She looks like a freaking serious killer right there. But rest of it, I just couldn't connect with her.
Yeah, and I mean the whole thing with, you guys touched on this a little bit too with Billy and her, and it's just like, how do you have any picture of your father when he was dead, before you were even born? Like, I understand that you're going through some stuff and you're seeing stuff, but like, I don't know. I just
Plain
think,
and simple, it was they wanted to give the viewers Billy.
well, 100%,
They
but
just
trying to
wanted
make
people to see.
sense of the story. It's just like,
Or if they would have done something like the actor who played Billy in Stab, which was, oh gosh, it's the brothers. I
Luke
don't
Wilson.
know. Luke Wilson, thank you. I could
Yeah.
only think of Owen's name. Yeah, if they would have had him play this scene or something, because in her head, that's who her dad is.
Right. And I mean, that would have been not only hilarious, but probably more realistic.
That'd be pretty cool, actually. I got one thing I'll say to add is, so we all agree 4 was the shit.
Yeah, I do. Woo woo.
We're not 100%, all together that 5 knocked it out of the park. I don't know why it is, guys, but I have a feeling that 6 is gonna. I feel like it's gonna be I think it's gonna be a knockout of the park. I don't know why. I
I do too.
Okay. I dig the New York thing. I had some people coming up like, "Hey man, what do you think about Scream 6? What do you think about him being in New York?" And so I had to think about it for a minute, but I believe Ghostface can absolutely, with the right script, and you put the right people together, like you guys have said over and over, some really good character development, which I agree with you, Polar. That is something that Scream does need, because like that's back to its roots. And Michael, you've touched on it. That's what it's about. You care about the characters. It's a different type of slasher. You're not there for a Friday the 13th type of film. If they can just do some things right, which I feel like they will, I think we're in for a surprise. And I'm excited.
I actually have no opinion whatsoever because I have no idea what I'm going to see. Like I have no frame of reference.
It's really
for
a
it.
gut feeling, Michael. I don't really either. I can't base this on things I've read or.
The biggest thing
gut
I'm looking
feeling.
forward to is seeing Kirby again, and what part is she going to play?
I'm
Like
excited
what?
about her.
Yeah, it's a super awesome character. What is she going to be in that movie?
Mhm.
I haven't even seen her. Like, I don't know. Like, she wasn't in the teaser trailer. All I know is she's going to be back.
I just don't want them to kill Kirby. That's my thing. Like, don't bring her back just to kill her.
Oh,
Well,
like an opening
here's a-
sequence or something like that.
Any sequence. I don't want her to die. Don't do this to
Speaking of
me.
that brings up something that's kind of cool about. Let's face it, Randy's death sucks.
Mhm.
Dewey's death sucked. But what's good about that is we do know that there's no rules with Scream, and we
Yeah.
don't know who they're going to.
No one's safe.
And that's a cool thing. That gives you that, if you just, they're going to do this and they're going to keep it clean. We don't know what they're going to do. So that's kind of you know what I'm saying there? it doesn't mean, because people like her, they can still kill her off. We don't know. And that gives you that suspense, which is really what horror is built around. So, yeah. I don't want Kirby to die either. I'm just saying it's possible.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't feel like there's enough in these characters for us to. It's something unique about the original is it built a connection with the characters right after the first movie was over. You're like, yes, I care about these characters. Did Scream 5 do that with all the new characters?
No, not at all. I didn't care about any of them.
So if they start dying off in 6, who really cares?
Well, I think that's what they're gonna have to do is make them likable and then kill them later into the show, so we feel like I think they're recognizing their mistakes because they also got a lot of criticism that Scream 5 didn't have any chase scenes, which that's what they're known for, and they even put in their marketing there will be chase scenes. So I think they are going to correct some of their shortcomings.
But I mean, other than Tara, I'm thinking about the cast.
Kirby, I will care.
Yeah, Tara, Kirby.
I think we all will.
I really I liked Mindy. I thought Mindy was a decent character.
I did not like Mindy.
I did.
She reminded me of like a sociopath. Like
she's talking
about her. She's just talking about her friends dying. Like, oh yeah, you're next. You're definitely next and stuff. Just like. We're talking about your friends dying.
That's true, but I know people like that.
You
know what I mean? So I'm used to that type of like. It's not humor, but I don't really feel like she means it. You know what I mean? I think her mouth just says things that's not.
She's got no filter.
Right.
You guys know the names in the Scream franchise so much better than I do. Which one's Mindy? Are they?
Mindy was one of the twins. She was one of the twins, the female twin who was also Randy's niece.
She was annoying. I
found
her kind of annoying.
Yeah.
I liked her.
I did enjoy watching her watch Randy. Like that scene in the party, that was actually really cool.
Yeah. Look behind you, and then she's like, "Oh shit." You know what I mean?
Yeah, like her eyes were like, "Oh shit, I should look behind me," and I was like, "That was a freaking outstanding scene."
Yeah, I didn't care for her either.
Yeah, I think.
But that's really it. Like that's it for me. And I mean, I from what I'm gathering, not a people. And I mean, who's gonna be from the original cast is gonna be in this? Who's left?
Gail. Just Gail.
Which I do like Gail.
I didn't like Gail in 5 though. Did you have any issues with 5? Because we have new writers now, and I feel like the new writers did not know how to write Gail on this one.
So it was funny when Dewey died. I said, "No, take Gail." That's what I yelled out of my mouth. Like I would have rather her died. And no offense to Courtney Cox, but it's just like that's what I screamed when it happened. And it's like, I would have much rather her went, than him. And it's just, like Gail's there, but she doesn't have the rest of them. And I don't know if she has the pull to really, pull that connection.
Yeah, Gail begged them, or Courtney Cox begged them in Scream 4 to kill her off. Like she was ready to be done with the franchise. And they killed freaking Dewey in Scream 5 instead of her. They did him dirty.
So Courtney was ready to be done with the franchise?
Yeah, in Scream 4, she asked them to kill her off, and they said no.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that would have been when she's going through her divorce, so maybe she was just looking to lose connections with her ex-husband or something. I'm not sure, but she did ask them to be killed off in 4.
Val was saying, I'm with Polar. That would suck if they brought Kirby back just to kill her off. I agree. I definitely agree. Val also says we never got a chance to fall in love with the new characters. Legacy characters overshadowed them. That's true. Like that's pretty much right on. Like it's. I don't know.
Let's also not act like it's a easy thing to do. Yes, they missed the mark, but when we love these characters from the original so much, it's not easy to have a part 5 and make these characters where we're never gonna care about them as much as we do the originals. That's just almost impossible. But they did miss the mark. But it's not an easy thing to do. I just want to throw that out there. You know?
Do you think that the newer generation that saw Scream 5 built a connection to the new characters like we built to the other ones?
Nope.
No, not
Yeah.
at all.
And
I'd be
that's
shocked if they did.
And I understand your point to where you're saying, you know, we would never, you know, betray our allegiance to the old cast, but in the same sense, I don't feel like they did either, and I don't feel like the new people watching it are going to say, yes, there was enough character development in there for me to build an attachment to these characters.
Right.
So,
right.
am I really wanting to see Scream 6? Of course I am. But am I going into it with the same feeling I had when I was going into like Scream 2 or Scream 3 or Scream 4? In all honesty, I hope they prove me wrong, because I'm not, to be honest.
I hope they do too.
You know, I hope that something happens and I'm just like, these guys are great, and I can go on and come back and tell you guys, yes.
And I'll muster it up, man. I'll go with you Friday evening.
Oh, do it. Yeah.
If we do the $5 theater, I'll buy your ticket and you buy the food, because my food's a lot more expensive than the ticket.
Shit, you'll end up with the old school way with those little fucking brown bags full of popcorn with the butter leaking through that I pulled out of my backpack.
Like you might stick to the seat a little bit when you come up, but hey, it's only $5. You're like,
yeah, them old school theaters where you get stuck to the floor when you were trying to walk through. You hear somebody going through, like,
it's the theater where I grew up. I've been going there since I was a little girl, man. It's awesome. Like, yeah.
It's great.
We have one of them.
Yeah. I actually worked there as a teenager. Yeah. So awesome. Yeah, it's old school, but it's great.
All right, you guys. Tonight was fun. It was fun to go through all of these, you know, to the extent that we went through them. And I want to thank, you know, both of you guys for being here and not talking about Scream 6. Now, Matt, I know you said you don't really know too much about it either, but I'm sure that Polar has her ears and her hands on some Scream knowledge that she's sitting over there on. And
I'm not gonna, guys. I have to tell other people within the Scream community, like, I don't want to know everything, and I don't want you guys going screen by screen or frame by frame and then telling me what you saw. So, like, I respect that you guys want to go in blind, because that's generally how I go in blind.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But I want to thank you guys. I had a great time tonight talking about this. I definitely had a fun time watching them this week. Like, I had more fun than I thought I would, though. I was talking to Matt the other day about how I did it, because I work such a, you know, a long schedule every day. And I just would put it on as I was going to sleep. I'd watch half of it, fall asleep. And then the next night I'd go back into it where I was and then start the next one, you know, and I did it all the way through that way. And it was good finishing up, you know, later on this afternoon with part 5. And yeah.
Michael, the pleasure's always all mine, man.
Yeah.
I love doing this. I love being on this show. I feel like it's very similar to the, you know, work in the booth that you and I both work there, and we're combining both of these things. And with the channel, the booth, we got great people, man. We do, and that's what it's all about. You know, that's what it's all about. I love good people, and I love the horror community, and give me more and more of it. I absolutely love it, and it's a blast talking with good people on here about the franchise that we all love. You know,
Val the General coming through once again, saying, please be sure to wait until the end of the stream or come back after the live stream is over and leave a comment in the comment section. It really helps out the channel, and it really does, you guys. Like, that's something that's really big for us. And please don't forget to like and subscribe to the chat or to the channel if you have not already. We love having you guys here. You know, we see a lot of the same faces coming back every week, and it's great. And we look forward to having you guys here as much as you guys look forward to coming, you know, onto the show. It's great. James is saying, with all the freaks that leave in New York, I worry more for Ghostface's. He may be no match against the killers that live there. Might get pushed in front of a subway train. Horrible city to live in. I actually like New York. I've had a good time when I go up there.
I was gonna go to school there. So.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Russell's coming through. Like, this was a blast. Russell, we always love having you here, buddy. And
Russell,
yes, we had a blast as well.
Russell, you're great, man. Like, yeah, and we missed you last time, and absolutely great to see you back, man.
James is saying, great to see you guys, and nice to meet you, Polar.
Hey, nice to meet you.
But that's really all I have, unless you guys want to wrap anything up for Scream. You guys got anything left on your mind that doesn't have
I do not. Polar, if you have anything, the floor is yours.
I'm just so excited that it's finally here, and it's my birthday month, so I plan on seeing Scream 6 as many times as I possibly can and pulling that birthday card out whenever people gripe that we're going to see Scream again.
It's my birthday month as well.
Oh,
happy birthday, Polar.
Happy birthday to you as well.
Yeah, I'm on the 25th. What's yours?
I'm 28th.
28th. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. Happy birthday.
Happy
We'll
birthday
do a
to you
birthday
too.
stream.
And I won't forget. I'll get you that Scream painting.
Oh my gosh.
Okay?
I would
Mark my words.
freak out over that.
I got you.
All right, guys. If you guys want to hang around for just a second, I'll talk to you guys backstage. And to everybody else, thank you again. And please tune in next Sunday at 8. We're not really sure what we're doing yet, but we will definitely have something good. And I will have a thumbnail up early this week so you guys get an idea what we're going to do.
Thank you, guys.
Please like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.